It's a very exciting announcement. It's a new series. It's called Kindness 101, and it is from one of the best storytellers working today, our own Steve Hartman. You may know Steve from Friday nights and Sunday mornings, his Emmy-winning series On the Road. He is now sharing stories out of the vault there, built around themes of kindness and character and the people who have mastered both of those qualities. Kindness 101, of course, is a good starter for discussions with kids, but we are confident that adults will learn a thing or two as well and may need to. Steve's first lesson, courage.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about how to get kids like Meryl to fail.
I did not expect that.
You thought I would say succeed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do want you to succeed. But before you learn how to succeed, you need to learn how to fail, which is why you need...
Courage.
What is courage? For that, let's check in with your brother over at our dictionary desk. Emmett?
So this essentially means like being brave. You would be able to take up something completely new.
Right. Meryl, do you remember for the longest time you didn't even want to try riding a bike?
I was worried everyone would laugh at me.
She was afraid that she would fall off, get injured.
Could have broke your clavicle.
What's a clavicle?
Yeah, what is a clavicle? You know what?
You're going to look that up? Okay, you look that up. We'll go on. As you guys know, I've interviewed some of the best people this country has to offer. People who can teach us pretty much everything we need to know to be a better person. So this morning, I looked in that library of stories past and found what I think is the perfect tale to teach us all how to be a little more courageous.
They were the bad news bears of swimming.
Y'all are on 2 minutes.
In fact, Coach Alex Wiedemann of Seguin High School in Arlington, Texas, says you can't overstate their underachievement.
Our goal every meet was to finish the race.
Just get across the pool?
Get across the pool. We measured our success on not getting disqualified.
And because that was the standard, Gerald Hodges made the team. Perhaps the only kid to ever make a high school swim team without a clue how to swim.
He couldn't get across 5 yards, let alone 25 yards.
Was there really nobody better?
No.
Come on, Gerald.
Eventually, he at least learned how to not drown and even finish some races, albeit long after the other competitors were done and toweled off.
Push it, come on.
Yes, he was that bad, which is interesting because on dry land, Gerald is a remarkable athlete.
Could you have made the basketball team?
I think so.
Soccer team?
Pretty positive.
So why swimming?
I felt like if I couldn't handle not being good at something, then how could I consider myself, a successful person?
That quote bears repeating. If I couldn't handle not being good at something, then how could I consider myself a successful person? To Gerald, setting yourself up for failure is actually the key to future success, especially if you can somehow manage to master your weakness. And by the start of his senior year, Gerald had actually improved a lot. But no one really knew how much until the big regional meet.
It was the 200-yard medley relay. Top 2 teams qualify for state. And as usual, Seguin was pretty much in last place with 50 yards to go. And that's when Gerald jumped in the water.
Keep in mind, at this level, making up any significant time is nearly impossible. Unless maybe you've got something to prove. Unless maybe you've stared failure in the eye and see it now for the paper tiger that it is. Whatever the reason, the kid who couldn't swim just sent his team to state.
Man, we was ecstatic. I could barely contain my energy as I was trying to go get this medal. I'm sitting here just freaking out.
You're having a hard time now.
Yes, I was like, I've come so far.
From now on, whenever you think anything is impossible, think of Gerald. Whenever you think the easiest path is the best, think again.
Gerald had a profound impact on me, and I know you too. Do you remember what you did right after I showed you that story the first time?
I thought I said I wanted to try riding my bike.
The courage of this child!
Yeah, I felt like I don't think I'm gonna do this, and then I didn't listen to that.
Look at this.
And I kept on trying.
Congratulations.
Gerald is definitely an inspiration, which is why I'm thrilled to see him again. Hello, Gerald.
Hi, everybody.
So you're a senior in college now, and you're a math major. That can't be easy.
Being a math major,
is always difficult.
So math didn't come naturally for you.
Not in college, no. I had to study a lot more.
You should have just taken something easy, like swimming.
Easy is good for 5 minutes, but for the future, hard is always a better option, at least from what I've learned.
Were you at all afraid to fail?
Yes, I was definitely afraid. Being afraid just means you have common sense. As long as I didn't act on that fear, I didn't let that stop me from doing what I wanted to.
This guy's wise.
He is wise, isn't he?
I'm not wise, but I listen to the wise people in my life.
Yeah. All right, Gerald, thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Gerald inspired you, and hopefully you too, to let failure open the door to your success. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And today we're going to explore
Empathy.
what is empathy. For that, we go over to your brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
So empathy is to experience the thoughts or feelings of someone else.
Yeah, or the ability to look at what someone else is going through and say, what if that was me? This is a very important quality because without empathy, people wouldn't care enough to help each other.
It would be like, hey, you handle that yourself.
That's exactly
It's
what
your
it would.
problem.
It's hard to imagine.
Well, fortunately, America is full of empaths. Those are empathetic people. And I have an example to illustrate. A story pulled from our archives about a preschooler who is so empathetic, it's his superpower.
He's faster than a speeding stroller, more adorable than a wet kitten, and able to get a stranger's attention with a single courtesy.
Excuse me?
This is America's latest superhero,
Don't forget to show love.
and the only superhero with the power to feed the homeless.
Now, why do you do that?
You know what, Mr. Steve? It's just the right thing to do.
Is it?
Yes.
You want honey?
By day, Austin Pirine is a mild-mannered 4-year-old from Birmingham, Alabama. But about once a week, he turns into this alter ego,
Would you like a sandwich?
a superhero set on feeding as many homeless people as possible.
Thank you. What's your superhero name?
President Austin.
President Austin.
President Austin?
President Austin. That's his idea of what the president is supposed to do. I was like, buddy, you have no idea. But hey, I'm going along with it.
TJ says this all began when they were watching a TV show about pandas. It showed a mama panda abandoning a baby. TJ told his son the cub was now homeless.
He says, what's homeless? I said, well, it's when you don't have a home and sometimes you don't have mom or dad around.
I can tell what the follow-up question is going to be.
Yeah, or people homeless.
When I was a 4-year-old, I didn't care about helping people.
I did.
I see.
Once Austin learned some people are homeless and some are even hungry, he launched this caped crusade. Told his mom and dad that he wanted all his allowance and money they would spend on toys
Here you go.
to go toward chicken sandwiches instead.
Oh, thank you, baby.
You're welcome. Don't forget to show love.
After he gives out each sandwich,
Yes.
he gives each person that same bit of advice.
Don't forget to show love.
Don't forget to show love, he tells them. And most do, immediately.
Well, thank you. It warms my heart to see him.
It'll warm anyone's heart. Yeah, he really did, man.
Raymont Baugh says this kid gives him hope.
That's where it started.
Don't forget to show love.
Everyone who meets Austin leaves with hope. Which is why, with any luck, someday President Austin won't be a superhero anymore.
Being the homeless is the highlight of my life.
He'll just be a president.
All right, come on, Austin.
Superhero and announced 2052 presidential candidate Austin Pirine joins us now. Hello, Austin. Hey, TJ.
Hello.
Hello. Do you still feed homeless people?
Yes, I do it once a week.
You still wear the cape?
No, because I was getting too much attention. Everyone was noticing me, and I wanted to be more about the homeless people.
TJ, did you raise him to be like this, or is this just coincidence?
But it's a combination of both. I try to do the best I can, but I'm a lucky guy as well.
It's just something that I love to do. It's like my passion. I gotta feed them, you know?
What are you thinking?
Everything.
You just made my daughter get emotional. No, but I think everybody feels the same thing. It's okay. No, we just think you're a really sweet young man, and we're glad you're out there helping people.
Feeding the homeless is still the highlight of my life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for joining us, you two. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Meryl, if you're empathetic, you know what I'm feeling now.
Happy that we did that story.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl.
Hi, everyone.
And we have a good feeling about this class because it's about...
Optimism.
And I see you have a glass there that is half empty.
No, it's half full.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's inching us closer to our definition. Let's go over to Emmett at the dictionary desk.
Optimism is to look on the better or brighter side of things.
Yeah, I kind of look at optimism as a superpower, a way to alter the course of future events. And you know how that happens?
You decide how you want to look at them.
That's right. So let's turn now to my library of stories past for a real-life example of the unbelievable power of positive thinking.
For as long as her parents can remember, Brianna Carsey has had this crazy dream. She has always wanted a broodmare, a mommy horse, that would give birth to a baby horse that would grow up to become a racing champion.
This was a fairy tale for her from day one. We put it off for 5 years almost because we don't have a farm.
This sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Why don't you say no?
Well, as she'll tell you, she has me wrapped around her finger.
Okay.
Her foal, an Ohio Standard bred, was born in the spring of 2013. She named it MJB Got Faith. MJB for the initials of the kids in her family, and Got Faith for the faith she instantly had in him.
I really loved him.
From the beginning.
Mm-hmm. He's super soft, too.
But that quick bond posed a real problem for this pushover dad.
Come here, bud.
See, for whatever reason, Brian thought once he explained to his daughter that her horse could never race, that it was a runt from poor breeding stock, she would just agree to sell it. But obviously not.
She's like, there's no price, Daddy. So I'm talking to my wife. It's like, you know, we really got ourselves in a mess here.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we're going to get out of this. So we stake him to the races.
This horse that doesn't belong in the races.
The horse that I thought we should have gotten rid of already.
Brian was stuck, committed to boarding and training this long shot to end all long shots.
Yep.
And this is not a wealthy family. Brian runs a small logistics company, and Ohio racing, which is harness-style racing, is a $900 million a year industry.
I want to see him go fast.
MJB Got Faith was so slow he barely even qualified to compete. But then somehow, someway, won his first race. Won his second race, his third, and his fourth, qualifying him for the state championship.
And I said, baby, if you finish third, you should be so thankful. She goes, Daddy, if he finishes last, I'm going to be thankful. But he's going to win.
And so it was that this little horse with no pedigree, this pet with no reason for being here beyond the blind faith of a little girl, won an Ohio Sire Stakes championship.
She said, Dad, I told you got to have faith.
Brianna took home $100,000 that day. She has already given away half of it to charity. And as for the other half, she plans to use that money as a down payment on a farm.
I just want to have a farm and be able to go walk out my back door and see him.
And that's her plan for happily ever after. Just a girl, her horse, and knowing her father.
Dad, can we please get a cat?
No.
Probably a cat, too.
I want to know if they got a cat.
I kind of do too. Let's find out. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
We're good.
Did you get the cat?
I didn't get the cat. I got a puppy instead, though.
Oh. How is MJB and where is MJB now?
Doing good. He's retired now. So he's living his best life in a field.
So you have the land.
Yes.
And as I recall, you got another horse and named it Steve Hartman.
We did. That's Steve Hartman, the early trailer.
How did that horse do?
He raced 4 times, I believe it was.
Ever get last place?
Yes, 2 to 4.
2 out of the 4 races, he was last place.
Correct.
Not good.
We'll have to find a Steve Hartman, too.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you want to push your luck.
You're not being very optimistic.
Starting to sound like me.
I don't want that. So I think we all know who was the optimist in that story and who was the pessimist.
Yes, sir.
I was just curious, did that whole experience change you in any way?
Yes, it honestly has. This process, it truly has changed me to believe things are possible and the glass is always half full, not half empty. And if you put your mind to it, you work hard and be dedicated, you can do anything you want.
That's beautiful. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, you guys.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
So there's your proof that the future is how you see it. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And today we're talking about the joy of doing hard work for no pay, otherwise known as
service.
And as always, we begin by tossing over to your brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning, everyone. Service is basically the act of helping for no pay at all.
Out of the goodness of your heart.
Right. On the one hand, it kind of seems like a burden.
Yeah.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yet about 25% of Americans do some form of volunteering. And to understand why, we turn once more to our library of amazing Americans and pull off the shelf the perfect person to show us the rewards of service.
At a nursing home in Northwest Arkansas, we found a gem named Ruby. 11-year-old Ruby Chitsey likes to go to work with her mom. Amanda is a nurse who travels to several nursing homes in the area. And it was on one of those visits that Ruby started going up to residents with her notepad.
If you could have any three things, what would they be? What would you want?
She came up with this idea, these questions?
Yes.
With the intention of what?
I don't think she had an intention, really.
Ruby says she was mostly just curious what they'd say.
Were you surprised?
I thought people would say like money, houses, Lamborghini.
But instead, here's what she got. Electric razor, new shoes, Vienna sausage. For some reason, a lot of people asked for Vienna sausage and other really basic items.
Like that's all they wanted. And I really decided that I needed to do something.
So she started a charity called 3 Wishes for Ruby's Residents.
I'm gonna sit right beside you.
Now, while her mom is caring for patients,
Cheese.
Ruby goes room to room.
I love cheese.
I do too.
Jots down wishes,
Avocados.
and then sets out to grant those wishes.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Ruby has a GoFundMe to cover costs, but again, no one is asking for a sports car here. Her expenses are minimal, especially compared to the rewards.
It really lifts you. It really does.
On this day, she came back with a wheelchair full of sausages and other grocery items.
You have this huge chocolate pie that you can eat all by yourself.
But make no mistake, this isn't about food.
Watermelon and oranges.
No one has this kind of reaction over fresh fruit alone.
It's okay.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it.
Whether she knows it or not, Ruby is satisfying some much more basic human needs here. To be remembered, to be cherished, especially by a child. That is what our seniors are truly hungry for, and that is what Ruby brings every time she sets foot in a nursing home. Who needs a Lamborghini
You know, I'm a hugger.
when you've got home delivery of all the happy you can handle?
After I first shared that story, Ruby expanded.
She now has kid helpers across the country who have granted 25,000 wishes and counting.
That's a lot of wishes.
And now she's granting our wish by joining us. Hello, Ruby.
Hi, Steve.
Helping people lifts you. In what way?
You know, I used to struggle with really bad mental health, but ever since I've started community service, I think this really benefits me.
How many cans of Vienna sausage have you bought?
Gosh, we give it to them so much that they've like almost outgrown it. So
people have burned out on Vienna sausage at this point.
What do you think you're gonna do next in your life?
I think I'm going to continue what I'm doing for a long time, helping the nursing home residents. They're just awesome to be around, and they're my best friends.
Can we clone you? Well, I'm working on a clone right here. This is going to be my clone.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Ruby, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
I really had a great time.
She really does make it seem like volunteering is worth a try.
For sure.
In fact, I think Emmett could start out by volunteering to clean your bedroom.
Yeah.
I do get the idea of service. Just cleaning Meryl's bedroom is on a whole different level.
All right, well, maybe you can start by cleaning your own. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning, everyone. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And as you can see, we have two forts on our desk. This one Meryl made out of stone, and this one I made out of cards. Now, Meryl, which fort would you rather live in?
The stone one.
Right, because this fort has more
Fortitude.
The word fort's right in there. What's that word mean, though? For that, let's go over to Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning. Fortitude is to have or feel strength.
Yeah, in people, it's the emotional strength you need to get through tough times, so that whenever anything bad blows your way, fortitude helps you withstand the adversity. And there's no better example of this than the woman in the story we're about to show you. A story pulled from our archive of amazing Americans, the living embodiment of fortitude.
Kayla McKeon may be Washington's most unlikely power broker. As a lobbyist, the only registered lobbyist with Down syndrome, Kayla roams the Capitol advocating for the National Down Syndrome Society.
I'm good. She's an incredible asset to this organization.
Sarah Hart-Weir is her boss.
She's extremely articulate and she's quick on her feet.
And I'm not gonna take no for an answer.
They hired you for your communication skills.
That too.
And your charm.
You're good at this.
It takes a schmoozer to know a schmoozer. But Kayla also has a certain sincerity that can turn almost any politician into putty.
I need your help.
Okay. Do you need a sponsor?
I definitely need you.
Am I surprised that she's in Washington, D.C. calling on senators and congressmen? And all that? Yeah.
Her parents, Mark and Patty, say although their daughter continues to surprise, Kayla never really let Down syndrome slow her down. They say even at 2, Kayla had already decided she would drive a car someday.
To pass the permit test, we said you have to be able to read. So that gave her encouragement to knuckle down and start reading. And right now, she still reads a book a week.
And she got her driver's license, too. That's her celebrating after passing the road test. She's now one of just a handful of people with Down syndrome to have a license.
What about that parallel parking?
You don't want to know.
Really?
That's challenging.
Fortunately, today she does more flying than driving. A couple times a month, she leaves her home in Syracuse for her office in D.C., where Kayla is focused on passing a law that would make it illegal to pay people with disabilities anything less than minimum wage.
I got it.
She says if it passes, it would be a monumental achievement, but a thrill regardless, just to be part of the process.
I just love the feeling of, wow, I'm here. I'm making history.
Hard to believe.
Oh, yeah.
Kayla McKeon, Lily in the Swamp.
I'll support the bill.
Joining us now, my friend and my inspiration, Kayla. Hello.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Meryl. Hi, Emmett.
Hi, Kayla.
Is it true you're getting your college degree now?
Actually, I'm 2 classes away from my associate's degree in dental studies.
Wow.
And I just passed my meteorology class last time.
Wait, you passed your meteorology class?
Yes, with a
I
C.
dropped out of that class.
Oh.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. That's a math.
Did you pass your driving test the first time?
Not my first time, but my 5th time.
How do you not give up?
I am very persistent. Yes, I'm tempted, but no, that would never happen.
Seems like a big part of fortitude is patience, and budging Congress on anything I think would take a lot of patience, right?
Oh, absolutely it does.
Where does that law stand now?
Talk about patience, because it has to go through many channels.
And you're not going to give up because you have...
Fortitude, done it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And good luck to you, powering through whatever obstacles you face today. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And she's going to help me teach a lesson about...
Compassion. What is compassion? For that, we go to my brother, Emmett, at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning, everyone. Compassion is to feel sympathy for someone who is sad or disappointed.
Yeah, it's kind of that feeling you get inside that makes you want to help someone in need. or some animal in need. We got a dog recently.
Do a wet puppy.
I did not want to get a dog, but you know why I went along with it?
Because Mommy really wanted one, she wears the pants.
Yes, but also because pets teach compassion. And if you treat a pet with compassion, there's a good chance you're going to grow up to treat people that same way too. I've got a story this morning I want to share with you that illustrates this point perfectly. It's a classic from the archives, featuring the boy who has become my role model for compassion.
8-year-old Robbie Gay loves an underdog. Bring him to the Flagler County Humane Society in Palm Coast, Florida, as we did, and ask him to find a favorite. He will seek out the oldest, mangiest, least adoptable mutt of the lot.
There's something about old dogs, but I just like.
Do you see yourself in these dogs?
Yes, sir.
He knows what it feels like not to be loved and cared for. He's the most hopeful, optimistic, and genuinely caring kid who has absolutely no reason to be that way.
Robbie's adoptive mom, Maria, says before he entered the foster system, Robbie was a holy terror. So badly abused, he was twice hospitalized with brain injuries. Then, 2 years ago, Maria and her husband Charles adopted him.
It was just a good day.
What did that day mean to you?
Everything.
He has come a long way, except in this one respect. Maria says he could not cry, despite the horrors of his past, or maybe because of them. The kid was a stone.
Then, one day, one of his old dogs, Buffy, had to be put down. He insisted on holding her till the very end, perhaps because he knew it was the release he needed. After Robbie finally let go, he told his mom, "I know how it feels not to be loved or cared for, and I don't want any animal of mine to feel that way." Nor does he want any foster kid to feel that way.
Because people don't want older people and older dogs. They only want babies and puppies.
He is so aware that it could have gone totally differently for him. And in these older dogs, Robbie's found a place to practice compassion.
Someday, Robbie wants to adopt older foster children himself.
Go up and knock on the door.
But until then, to show his commitment and do what he can, he has vowed to adopt as many old dogs as his parents will allow.
Do you love her?
Today, it's a lame, snaggletooth Shih Tzu named Molly. Molly's owner had to go into assisted living, but Molly got a new home, thanks to the sweet little boy who sees his reflection in the eyes of the suffering.
Robbie and his mom, Maria, join us now. Hello.
Hi.
Robbie, I know you just lost Molly not long ago. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
But your mom also surprised you with a new old dog, and we have some video of that.
Easy.
You seem like you were pretty surprised when you got off the bus.
Yes. He had no idea. He can hear and he can see.
Is this rare that you have a dog that can see and hear?
Totally. Very.
And what's that dog's name?
Chewy Lewis and the News. So we call him Chewy Louie.
I only have one dog. How many dogs are you allowed to have?
As many as possible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some of these older dogs, we might only have them for
a month.
So if you only have them for a little while, what makes you want to keep doing it?
Because all dogs deserve to be loved. I don't think of when they're going. I think of how they feel right now.
Thank you so much for what you've done. And thank you very much for joining us.
It was really nice to meet you, kiddos.
Robbie has made a place in his heart to love the lonely. And if you do the same, compassion will always follow. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning.
Welcome to class.
This is my daughter, Meryl, and today we're going to discuss
redemption.
To find out what it means, let's go over to your brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
So redemption has a rather simple definition. It's basically just a second chance.
Yeah, it could mean making up for a mistake. When I was a kid, I stole something from a store, and for years it bothered me. So as an adult, I wrote a letter to the company and sent them money for what I'd stolen. I was seeking redemption.
You've done so many other great things in your life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But you know, I once did a story about a guy who did something much worse, but did something much greater to redeem himself. So let's turn now to my archive of real-life life lessons and pull off the shelf a dramatic tale of redemption.
I'm gonna take you down to my old neighborhood.
For 31-year-old Jermaine Wilson of Leavenworth, Kansas, going back to his childhood is a bad trip.
Yeah, I used to sell a lot of drugs there, right there in apartment 4.
He started using at age 11, was in juvenile detention by 15, and in the maximum security wing at Lansing Correctional by 21. And it was here that this convicted drug dealer came to the most important realization of his life.
If I don't change, it's either going to be two things that's going to happen. I'm either going to spend the rest of my life in prison or dead in a casket.
You could have never imagined the third option.
No, not at all. We want to welcome you to our city commission meeting.
Jermaine became the mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas.
Motion carried 5-0.
It's a transformation he credits to God, education, and volunteer work. After prison, he became a community activist and got his felony record expunged, paving the way for a political run.
A lot of politicians decide to run for office and then go to prison.
I know.
You're doing it the other way around. What are the advantages?
There's this quote that I always go by. You'll never know what you are until you've encountered what you are not. I experienced being someone that I wasn't created to be. And when I tried the opposite, I succeeded. You can be what you want to be.
Yes, I can.
Today, Jermaine couldn't be more opposite. The school district that once had him expelled now welcomes him back with open arms.
Jermaine Wilson. I'm the community outreach coordinator.
He also works for a nonprofit that helps ex-cons find and keep good jobs.
That's good.
And of course, he has his mayoring duties. All made possible, he says, by the gift of incarceration.
That's why I'm here, because if that wouldn't have happened, I would have never had the time to think. I would have never had an opportunity, to build a relationship with God.
Mm-hmm. So you suggest prison?
No, I don't suggest prison. But one thing I tell you, we all go through a time in our life where we hit rock bottom. When you're at rock bottom, there's only one other place to go, and that's up. Meeting adjourned.
Jermaine Wilson joins us now. Hello, Jermaine.
How you doing, sir?
We're doing great.
Are you still mayor?
I'm currently serving as the mayor pro tem. I'll serve as the mayor next year. I just actually won my re-election.
What was the first step in your path to redemption?
First off, I had to recognize that, that I had some issues. I had to change up my mindset. I started writing out things that I wanted to accomplish in my life.
I was telling the kids earlier about a time when I stole something and years later paid the money that I owed the store. And it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. Did you have that same feeling when you finally had redemption?
Yes, and I feel it every day because your heart has changed, your mindset has changed.
Do you want to be president someday?
No, ma'am. I just want to continue to serve my community.
What about any higher office?
At this particular time, I have no desire for any higher office.
That's what politicians say when they are going to run for higher office.
No.
I've heard it said many times, Jermaine.
No.
Were you always this joyful, or is this a byproduct of your redemption?
Back then, I always liked making people laugh, but it was doing it in the wrong way. Now, I have everlasting joy and peace.
We can see that on you. Thank you so much for joining us, Jermaine.
Thank you, Mr. Steve Hartman.
Jermaine says you never know what you are until you've encountered what you are not. And if you've ever felt guilty about something, that is you encountering what you are not. And it's important to listen to that feeling. That's what I hope you guys take from this, and you too. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And we welcome you to our lesson on
inclusion.
For a definition, let's turn to our resident linguist, Emmett.
Inclusion is to not leave anyone out, to make sure that everyone is included.
Have you ever felt left out of anything?
Once in pre-K, they were playing kitchen, I think. And they said they had enough people. It felt like, oh, they don't want me. I'm not good enough.
You ever had that feeling, Emmett?
Yeah, I have. It doesn't feel good.
So you guys know how painful that can be. Fortunately, inclusion is a weapon against that. And if you want to harness this great power, you turn to the master of the craft, a young man whose story lives in our archive of amazing Americans, categorized under inclusion.
When the lunch bell rings at Boca High in Boca Raton, Florida, 3,400 kids spill into the courtyard and split into their social groups. But not everyone gets included. Here at Boca High and at schools across the country, someone always sits alone.
It's not a good feeling, like you're by yourself, and that's something I don't want anybody to go through.
Dennis Esteban is a Haitian immigrant. When he came here in first grade, he says he felt isolated, especially at lunch. Now he's a senior, he's popular, but he has not forgotten that first grade feeling.
To me, it's like if we don't try and go make that change, who's gonna do it?
So with some friends, Dennis started a club called We Dine Together.
We dine. Together. We dine. Together. We dine. Together.
Their mission is to go into the courtyard at lunchtime to make sure no one is starving for company.
Dennis.
I'm new here.
You're new here? When did you first come here?
For new kids especially, this is a godsend.
It's Gabriel.
Gabe, how you doing?
As a result of the club,
He's Brazilian.
hundreds of friendships have formed. Some very unlikely.
You're probably meeting kids you never would meet on the football team.
Ever.
Gene Max Maridu actually quit the football team, gave up all the perks that come with it, just so he could spend more time with this club.
I don't mind not getting a football scholarship. This is what I really want to do.
Just imagine how different your teenage years would have been.
What's your name?
If the coolest kids in school all of a sudden decided you mattered.
We get to know each other better.
It obviously takes a real devotion to inclusion to spend your lunch like this.
Yes.
Either that or first-hand experience.
I went from coming from a school that I always had friends to coming to where I had nobody, so.
Club member Allie Seeley transferred 2 years ago. She says with no one to sit next to, lunch can be the most excruciating part of the day.
I think it's really unfair. It's honestly an issue. Meeting someone who actually cares and listens to what you have to say really makes a difference. And that could happen at lunch. That could happen at our club. It's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, I'll be around tomorrow if you want to eat lunch together or something.
It's been almost 5 years since we first told that story, and I'm really curious what Dennis is up to now. Hello, Dennis.
Hi, Steve. Good to see you again.
Were you able to open other chapters of We Dine Together?
Right now, we are in over, I believe, 2,000 counties. What started in a high school cafeteria has swept the nation, has become a movement.
I know this is your mission, but is it also your job now?
Yeah, so full-time, since we last spoke, Steve, I've really just been traveling. And the child that came to this country not being able to speak the language has now spoken all across the US. The child that couldn't even read or write is now in the process of writing a book to help people spread their own movements.
People don't just get left out in high schools, they get left out in adult life too. Are there lessons for those folks in what you're teaching?
Yeah, Steve, I think the issue of loneliness and social isolation is something that we will continue to see at every stage of life. Whether you are 16 or you're 60, we have a responsibility to one another.
You're changing a lot of lives and helped a lot of kids, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
So I guess we need to always be on the lookout for the lonely, because sometimes all it takes is a hello to make the world a better place. And with that, we say goodbye.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl, to celebrate the most important teacher you have, you.
That's right, we're talking about self-improvement.
Emmett, you want to take a stab at defining this one? I know it's a toughie.
Self-improvement is improving yourself.
Genius. He gets that from me, you know. I'm curious, have you guys ever tried to improve something about yourself and struggled?
Trying to think. Do you have any ideas?
Oh, I have plenty of ideas.
Spit them out.
But this is self-improvement, not dad improvement. How about you, Meryl?
It was hard getting to have a lot of friends.
I'm thinking more about just ways you want to make yourself better.
Oh, I was not done.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of just like sometimes I raise my voice at my friends and...
Maybe you could start by not interrupting her.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, self-improvement can be harder than it sounds, which is why it's helpful to have motivation. And today, I have that for you. A story pulled from our archive of the most inspiring Americans. This one, the perfect role model for self-improvement.
Inside a single wide in Cookson, Oklahoma, a tortured soul lives alone.
It's a hard life, let me tell you, buddy. You ain't never lived hard till you go through what I've been through. This is me.
Ed Bray served in World War II. He was at Normandy on D-Day, has 2 Purple Hearts and more than a dozen other medals. But to this day, he still can't even read what they're for. Not because it's too painful.
Victory.
But because he simply can't read.
You know what that word is? E-U-R-O-P-E?
Nah. The toughest thing that ever happened to me in my life is not being able to read.
You said you were at Normandy, though.
Yes.
Illiteracy can be that damning.
I've covered this up for 80 years. Nobody in this town knows I can't read.
Until he retired, Ed worked a civilian job at an Air Force base refueling planes. A coworker helped him with the forms and whatnot. At home, his wife covered for him for 62 years, until she died in '09.
Put you guys some coffee on.
Today, Ed manages okay, but the soldier in him still refuses to surrender.
I wanted to read one book. I don't care if it's about Mickey Mouse. I want to read one book before I die.
Over the years, Ed says many people have tried to school him, but invariably, either the teacher or the student would get frustrated and give up. Then a few months ago, a friend suggested he see a professor of reading education here at Oklahoma's Northeastern State University.
He told me I was wasting my time. And I said, well, we'll just sit and chat a couple times a week. Is that okay? Very good.
Toby Thompson says eventually their weekly talks gave way to flashcards.
And everything started clicking. 4.
He got pretty good at the sight words.
1.
Good job.
But the real breakthrough came when, at the age of 89, Ed read this book about George Washington.
It gave me goosebumps, and it still does.
To power a car.
He read 3 more shortly after. Each one,
Good job.
the same dramatic ending.
Did you ever think you'd read that?
Each one, the same lesson for anyone considering self-improvement.
Get in there and learn, baby. Now. Because you ain't going to learn in that pine box.
Just learn to read and already a poet.
And that's the truth.
10 years later, the one thing no one's been able to read is Ed's obituary. He's still with us, and he's with us. Hello, Ed.
I'm ready, baby.
Okay. You went around and talked to a lot of schools after our story. What was your message to them?
Telling them children to read books and put them phones away.
That's good advice.
This telephone they got today was the worst invention we've ever made. They're a pain. I can't hardly run my own.
Do you think you inspired other people to read?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have got boxes and boxes of letters from all over the world full.
How old are you now?
99.
Can you believe you made it that long?
No, I don't know what God's got me living for.
I do.
What's your reason?
To inspire other people, Ed.
Thank you guys a million.
Thank you so much.
You made my day today.
So that's class for today. Hopefully, meeting Ed will inspire a better you. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter and co-teacher, Meryl.
Hi, everyone. Today we'll be talking about determination. As always, we start with my brother, Emmett, at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning. Determination is to never give up.
Yeah, it's like inner strength. You know how you guys talk a lot about how muscular I am?
No, you do most of the talk.
You're not even that strong compared to other men.
Either way,
Yeah.
I think of determination like mind muscle. It's what keeps your brain going when the going gets tough. And even though it's an invisible force, it can accomplish great things. How great? Well, let's look in our library and pull one of my favorite stories about this potent force called determination.
I really want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Whenever his 2 little girls play doctor and dream of becoming one someday,
Let me take your heartbeat, doctor.
Master Mechanic Carl Allenby is flooded with the feeling of deja vu.
You wanted to be a doctor?
Oh, yeah.
But that wasn't realistic.
Not where I came from, no. I grew up in East Cleveland, which is a very impoverished city. We were on welfare, and I remember the powdered milk, government powdered milk and block cheese.
And because they were so poor, young Carl quickly set aside his professional aspirations and focused instead on becoming the best auto mechanic he could be.
So this was the parts store where I got all my customers from.
So you would work on cars in the parking lot of the parts store?
Oh yeah, sometimes till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Eventually, he got his own shop, and for 15 years, he did okay, until one day he decided to ratchet things up.
In 2006, Carl enrolled here at Ursuline College. His intention was to get a business degree to help him manage his repair shop. But there was one hurdle, a biology class. He couldn't understand why he had to take it, and he put it off as long as possible.
I'm a business major.
Yeah.
What do I even care about biology? But I went to class, and in the first hour of being there, I knew what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. All those ideas of wanting to be a doctor just came rushing back.
And to make a long story short, the car doctor,
Dr. Carl Allenby,
is now a doctor.
Daddy, we love you!
A few years ago, Carl graduated from Northeast Ohio Medical University. And today, he's an emergency medicine resident at Cleveland Clinic, Akron General.
Hey, Miss Fior.
By all accounts, Carl is already an exemplary doctor, partly because, according to his supervisors, he worked so long in a garage.
That cannot translate.
You'd be shocked, actually. I think it's some of the customer service.
This is Dr. Rebecca Merrill.
But could you imagine right now going and learning auto mechanics?
No. But Carl said he'll do our oil changes, so.
Fortunately, Carl now has more important repairs on his mind. But this old auto mechanic also knows that whether you're working under a hood or staring down a hatch,
Can I have you open up your mouth really wide?
your success hinges on your drive.
I would hear people say, well, Carl, it's going to take 9 years to become a doctor.
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, 9 years are going to pass anyway. So I'd rather be someplace I want to be than someplace that I could have been.
And there's the prescription
Yeah.
for the I can't do it blues.
I'd rather be someplace I want to be than someplace I could have been. Smart guy, even by doctor standards. Which is why we were determined to have Dr. Carl join us today. Good morning.
Hey, how's it going, Steve?
How do you instill this in kids, this determination?
Let them know you'll learn much more from your failures than you will from your successes, and that they're not going to be good at everything that they want to do.
Earlier, Emmett defined determination as never giving up. And I think you're saying one of the keys to never giving up is just recognizing that you're not going to always succeed.
Yes, yes.
And it's okay.
What are you determined to do next?
I want to learn how to play the piano. And if you look behind me, there's a piano, and my daughter Kennedy here actually plays.
Is your dad any good at piano? Guess not.
So he goes from a mechanic to a doctor to a musician.
Yes. We'll see if that works out.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Steve, it was awesome to see you again. Take care, little ones.
Feeling determined?
Yep.
Good. Because you don't ever want to wonder where you could have been. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl, and today we are crusaders for
justice.
And to start us on our mission, let's toss it over to Meryl's brother, Emmett, at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Justice is the principle that people receive what they deserve.
Like if someone robs a bank, they deserve to go to jail.
Right. It can be a negative consequence. That's what police officers and judges do. But it can also mean getting someone the credit they deserve. And that kind of justice we can all dole out. To see what I mean, we turn now to our library of living examples and search for justice. So what were you here for?
Soccer game.
10-year-old Sarah Haycock says she was just walking through this park in Shoreline, Washington.
So just about a year ago?
Yeah.
When she came across something curious.
It was like the beginning of a mystery.
Yeah.
A stone with a plaque.
This is what I first saw.
It was clearly a tribute. But to who?
Edwin T. Pratt, 1930 through 1969. And I'm like, wow, that's a really short life. I just did the quick math in my head. We were like, he died at 39?
Did you wonder why?
Yeah, I'm just like, that's not typical.
And since there were no other markings and no one around to ask,
there were no other clues,
Sarah took it upon herself to learn all she could about the life and death of Edwin Pratt. She learned he was director of the Seattle Urban League, worked on school desegregation, and was the first black person to move into Sarah's town. It was a bold and fatal decision. Pratt was assassinated right there on the front porch.
It was just the lack of recognition. He's got to have something more than just a plaque outside of a bathroom.
About that same time, across the street from Sarah's school, she noticed the district was putting up a new early learning center. She found out it didn't have a name yet, and her wheels started turning.
Sarah launched a petition drive and went all over town, explaining to anyone who would listen why that new building should be named after Pratt.
Thank you for helping me honor Edwin Pratt.
Over time, she assembled quite a bandwagon.
Would all of those here tonight to support Edwin Pratt please raise your hands?
At this point, the school board really had no choice but to vote on her recommendation.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
About a year after that vote, the Edwin Pratt Early Learning Center opened for business. Sarah got to tour the school with some Pratt relatives who flew in to meet her and rediscover him.
We as a family have gotten to know more about my uncle than I think we ever would have had this not happened. And we can't ever thank you enough for that.
Because of Sarah, there will never be another kid in Shoreline who doesn't know the name Edwin Pratt. And someday, if she keeps this up, everyone will also know the name.
Thank you.
Sarah Haycox.
Sarah for president.
Sarah Haycox, my choice for the next Justice League superhero, joins us now. Sarah, welcome to Kindness 101.
Thank you.
When you first saw the name on the school, what did that feel like?
I could picture it in my head when it wasn't actually a thing, but like just to see it felt really good to be like, yeah, like that actually happened.
When a lot of people see injustices, they think, oh, that's not my problem. What made you think that you wanted to take this on?
I think injustice is kind of everyone's problem. If you can do something, why not?
What message do you have for kids like me and Emmett who want to do this stuff?
I would say just go for it. Like you never really know what will happen. And if you don't try, that's at least one outcome that's been decided.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Sarah. Really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
So, next time you see someone not getting the credit they deserve, do them justice.
And don't forget to stay kind.
It's my favorite part. Joining us now in the studio are Steve and his favorite son, that would be Emmett. His favorite daughter, that would be Meryl. Emmett is 12 and Meryl is 8. Welcome, Hartman family.
Thank you.
Mom Andrea is over there taking pictures. Welcome, Andrea. Good to see you, too. Steve, why don't you start, not Steve, Emmett, why don't you start us off? What inspired you about Sarah?
So I think it's amazing that one girl can take the initiative, noticing that someone doesn't have enough recognition, and then ending up naming a school.
Yeah, that she's paying attention when most kids aren't even paying attention about that. Meryl, number one, you look lovely. I like your blazer. I love how, look how Meryl's sitting, too.
Just professional.
I like it, Meryl. And I like how you always end every segment with stay kind. You should see me in the studio every day, every time you're on. I go, I wait for that.
She loves it.
I do. I really
do.
love it. We all do. Why do you like ending your segments with that?
Well, I think it's just really important. It's like a responsibility. Like if you don't do it, you're not you. You're not complete.
And Steve, I guess we should throw a question your way as well, since you're here.
If we have to.
Yeah, since you're here.
I did drive them.
What's the best part of doing this with your kids?
Kindness is something, and all the things we talk about, we all need reminders. It's not something you learn once and you're done with it. And I think it's great doing it with my kids because although these lessons do sink in, they do need reminders. They're typical kids. And the adults watching, I think, need reminders too. So it's good to be, doing this over and over because, it takes a while to sink in.
Yeah, you can't just do it. It's not a
one-time thing.
Right.
That's why I encourage people to watch these over and over.
Yes.
Yeah, and speaking of watching these over and over, Emmett or Meryl, you can take this. What does it feel like to know that these videos, these clips are being shown in classrooms around the country, maybe even around the world?
Well, I feel like it's just amazing to see that someone listens, someone knows that you're doing something and that it makes a difference in the world.
Yeah, Emmett, it's quite a powerful thing. You're over there on the dictionary desk, and your words are going all around the world.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to know that other people are listening.
I feel that too. You know, Steve, I get stopped on the street by teachers mostly, but sometimes adults, but mostly teachers who say, how can I get this in my classroom? I love what you guys are doing. It's so needed in the world. You must be getting this. If I'm getting stopped, I know you must be getting
No, we found
requests.
we found just by accident almost that tens of thousands of teachers around the country, around the world, are using the stories. And we have a Facebook group, Kindness 101, where teachers can share lesson plans and which stories work to teach with which lessons. So we encourage teachers to join that group.
Steve, I've worked with my daughter, and every time I've done things with her, I learn more about her. What have you learned about your kids during this process?
I've learned that they are much deeper thinkers than I probably gave them credit for originally.
Wow.
And that I'm learning as much from them as they are from me. I think sometimes we think of adults as the teachers, but really, you know, the kids can teach us a lot too.
That's really good.
And working with your dad, what's it like, Emmett, in 30 seconds or less?
In 30 seconds or less, it's nice. He's made this his life's dedication, kind of, to spread stories of kindness around the world. And it's been an honor to really help him out.
Yeah.
He's an inspiration
Good
as well.
job.
Steve, Emmett, Meryl, stay kind,
Thank you,
everyone.
Hartman.
Thanks.
This is CBS
Stay
Mornings.
kind.
Stay kind.
Stealing Meryl's lines. Stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi. We couldn't be more enthusiastic for our lesson on enthusiasm.
And for a definition, let's go over to your brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett.
Enthusiasm is like a special kind of joy that fills you with energy to do something.
Perfect. Have you guys ever heard of Ralph Waldo Emerson?
No.
Never?
No, it doesn't ring a bell for me.
Oh, like, where's Waldo?
No, not Where's Waldo. This is a guy that I think he wore a different shirt every day, and he was also a writer too.
Oh.
Emerson once said, nothing great is ever achieved without enthusiasm. And he's right. Enthusiasm is crucial to success. And if you want definitive proof, look no further than our library of living life lessons. And this story about a man with a busload of enthusiasm.
You can see why someone might hate being a school bus driver. The early hours, when the weather sours, the abundance of responsibility combined with the absence of eyes in the back of your head.
Y'all have a good day.
Nevertheless, Curtis Jenkins loves delivering these little ones to Lake Highlands Elementary in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Emily Grunninger is the principal.
He goes way beyond the outlined responsibilities and duties of a bus driver. I mean, that bus is like a family.
These are my children. These are my community. I love them all.
To establish community,
what's your job, man?
He starts by giving everyone responsibility.
This is one of the police officers.
It's an elaborate flowchart.
She's administrative assistant to the president.
Administrative assistant to
the president. Yeah.
Everyone working together to build a yellow bus utopia.
And we're gonna care about each other, and we're gonna love everybody, right?
I put time, effort, love, care, understanding each and every one of those kids.
Omar.
To show his love and understanding,
hey, Chief.
Curtis gives presents throughout the year.
You say you like baseball.
Each gift personally selected with that child in mind. He gave this girl a t-shirt.
Her first book.
With a picture from a book she made.
I'm hoping this t-shirt inspire her to keep on writing books.
Over the years, he has bought these kids bikes, backpacks, handed out cards on birthdays, and even turkeys at Thanksgiving. He has spent thousands out of his own pocket. And yet, if you ask the kids what they like most about Curtis, the gifts don't even come up.
He really cares about us, is really kind, and he helps anyone in need.
Ethan Engel is a 5th grader.
It means a lot to you.
Yeah.
He says the bus ride is often the best part of his day.
My mom got divorced when I was only 4.
See you tomorrow.
He's the father that I always wanted. In some ways, I wish my dad could have been like that.
We make the mistake sometimes of thinking certain jobs are more important than others.
I know.
But Curtis proves with a little enthusiasm, you can make any job important.
Bye-bye.
A lot has happened since we first told that story. And joining us now to tell us about it, Curtis Jenkins.
Hello, how you doing, Steve?
We're doing great.
Do you still drive a bus?
I don't drive a bus at this time. I was promoted.
You were promoted?
Yes, teaching other bus drivers.
So you began teaching other bus drivers how to be like Curtis Jenkins?
Yes, some of them didn't have to do too much. It was a great opportunity for me to show the enthusiasm that I had with the kids and give it to someone else.
Sounds like a good job.
It does sound like a good job.
Are you still talking to the kids that were on your bus route?
Yeah, I go to the school frequently and I see those kids. Those kids are very, very, very dear to my heart. Ethan, he's going to the 9th grade now. Actually, we stood up a little lunch date, me and him and his mom.
In your opinion, do you think that people can make themselves feel enthusiastic about something?
You can't make this up because you know what? Any job that you get, you can find some type of joy. Everybody can find purpose in everything that they do.
I'm just grateful that you've decided to dedicate yourself to children. So thank you so much. And thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you too. We'll be back here again, enthusiastically, next week.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl, and we're here to persevere.
That's right, because we have perseverance. For a definition, let's go over to my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
So I think that perseverance is like to keep trying even when there's repeated obstacles or failures.
Good. So we all know the tortoise beat the hare, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you know why? Was he more talented?
No.
Did he cheat?
No.
So how did he do it?
The tortoise, despite all odds, even though he was pretty convinced that he was going to lose, still tried.
That's the point. He still tried.
Mm-hmm.
Perseverance allows you to win in life, even if you're not the fastest, smartest, or most talented person in the race. All you've got to do is learn to love a challenge and never give up, no matter how many setbacks you encounter. And of course, I have a story to illustrate. A story pulled from our archive of amazing Americans about the power of perseverance.
Girls and boys.
Kittredge Elementary in North Andover, Massachusetts was honoring 3 former students. Alex Gamble, Kira Brown, and Celia DeSalvo had just graduated from high school, but the present they left behind when they were here is still all anyone can talk about.
The kids started working on this gift unwittingly. It was 10 years ago. They were in 2nd grade and out here on the playground during recess when one of them saw this little rock, or what looked like a little rock, sticking up out of the ground.
So we kind of thought, we were like, oh, we should just we found some sticks. We're like, oh, let's just dig this out of the ground.
They were out there every recess.
Richard Cushing was principal during much of the excavation.
And I have to tell you, their hearts were broken when the first frost appeared, because they had to stop.
But year after year, they returned to the project, digging mostly with sticks and plastic spoons they got from the cafeteria. The kids dug down through 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th, and 5th, until finally, just before moving on to middle school, they finished. The principal brought in heavy equipment to lift it out of the hole for them. That was 2008, and now, these 3 are like rock stars around here.
It was just in the ground, sticking out a little bit.
Partly because of the accomplishment itself.
Try digging out something like that with just a plastic spoon.
But mostly for what the rock has become.
It's evolved into something that we never could have imagined.
Today, some kids say this rock has the magical power of making friends.
It's a beacon to some of the students out there who get picked on.
And they go and sit on the rock, and by the end of recess, someone will go sit with them.
I waited there, and then eventually some kids came, and that changed my life forever.
Walter Wanyeweke is a firm believer in the power of the rock.
When I made those friends, it felt magical. I thought I would just sit there alone on recess. Then friends came by.
This is an amazing rock.
It is.
You'll never forget that rock?
No. Not as long as I live.
When those 3 started digging, they say they used to wonder if one day they would uncover a buried treasure. And now we know they did.
And of course, none of that magic would have happened if those 3 hadn't persevered. Joining us now, Alex, Kira, and Celia. Hello.
Hi.
Hey guys, hello.
I think a lot of kids would have given up when they started to see how big that rock was. What kept you going?
You know, we weren't really thinking about the big picture at the time. We were just taking it one step at a time.
And we had to see it through because we're just those types of people.
What were the obstacles that you faced, and what tried to stop you?
So many of the people at school kept telling us we couldn't do it. So that gave us some motivation to prove to them that we believe in ourselves, even if you don't, and we're going to get this done.
What's the difference between perseverance and obsession? Because it seems like you guys were kind of walking a fine line here.
I think it is the fine line that you need. Like if it's a creative dream, you really have to be obsessed in order to have the level of perseverance to get through and make it out on top.
If I'm ever locked up in Alcatraz, I know who I want in my cell with me.
Hit us up anytime, Steve. We're here for you.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
It was great to meet you guys.
You know, perseverance can give you the power to dig a boulder out of the ground with a plastic spoon.
You can probably do anything.
That's right. Good luck unearthing your next treasure.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning. By now you know my daughter, Meryl.
Good morning, everyone. Today's class is about friendship.
And as always, we start with your brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning. I'm defining friendship as a lasting affection and trust between two people who are usually not related.
Yeah, a friend wouldn't harp on you to unload the dishwasher or make you eat your banana every morning. A friend accepts you exactly as you are, no matter how different you may seem. To that point, I have a story I'd like to share. It's one of my favorites from the archives because I think it captures the true essence of true friendship.
Miami preschoolers Gia Sarnicola and Zuri Copeland say they're not best friends.
I know.
They say they're closer than that. Closer than mere sisters, even. In fact, Gia and Zuri truly believe they're twins.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley and Valencia are their moms.
They will tell you that they are twins, and they have a long list of reasons why to back it up.
To them, what makes a twin?
Similarities. Similarities.
Look, come here.
For example, the girls say their birthdays are practically the same day, and the obvious physical similarities.
So what am I looking at here?
The same height.
Oh, because you're the same height.
Clearly twins, which is why they also insist on matching outfits whenever possible. So far, Ashley and Valencia have indulged them, but they also recognize there is some bitter to this sweet.
You know, you're happy for, for a few seconds, and then you become sad because they have to grow up. And then society takes over.
Indeed, society already tried to take over.
Zuri and Gia were at a birthday party when an older kid told them they couldn't be twins because they don't have the same skin color. Gia broke down, but through her tears, she got out this rebuttal. She said, "You don't know what you're talking about. We're twins because we share the same soul."
I just get chill bumps.
Soul?
I was just thrown by just that word.
Yeah.
Obviously, what Gia was trying to say is that at our core, we are one. And when we look back on our years of division and racial strife, it's important to remember that while all this was going on, so was this.
We have a lot to learn, and we can learn from children.
In fact, the moms say they already have.
For sure. Yeah. We've never talked so much on the phone.
Yeah.
And that's what the twins want for all of us, to push back against the cynics.
Some girls said we're not twins, and we are twins.
And move on to the more important things in life.
You know what we're gonna get today?
What?
We're gonna get ice cream! And you don't.
Oh. It's been 5 years since we first told that story. And no surprise here, Gia and Zuri are still best twins. And they join us now. Hello, girls.
Hello. Okay, first, why didn't you let my dad have ice cream? Obviously, he doesn't need it, but I'm just wondering.
Probably because we don't want anyone to take it because it's so delicious.
Clearly weren't trying to make friends with me.
How old are you now?
We're at 9 years old. Yep.
Do you still see each other a lot?
Yes, 24/7.
What do you think is the key to staying close as long as you have?
We communicate after a fight, and we always say sorry and hug it out. And it doesn't matter which one says sorry first, but you should always apologize.
How long do you think this friendship is going to last?
For a long time.
And if I came by there to see you again, is there any chance I could get some ice cream or no?
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, thanks for your time and for showing us what a real twinship looks like.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Bye.
Lots of good advice in there. But of course, the best way to get a good friend or to keep one is to be one. We'll see you next time.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl. And today, I'm going to be perfectly frank with you, because today's class is about
honesty. And for a definition, let's toss it over to my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning, Meryl. Honesty is basically not telling lies and not being deceptive in any way.
Perfect. Have you ever lied about anything?
Yes, but not on a basis.
Not on a what basis?
Not on a regular basis.
I think everyone has lied. There's even studies showing that parents lie.
I've never seen such a study. Like, what would a parent possibly lie about?
I totally didn't eat the Oreos.
Got me there.
There was like a whole row gone.
I don't like the direction this is going.
I feel like everyone has to lie at some point.
Why do you think people aren't honest all the time?
I feel like oftentimes people have a fear of being in trouble.
Yeah, dishonesty can get you short-term gains. But if you're honest, the long-term gains can be so much more rewarding. To prove the point, let's look at a classic from our archives. A story that shows just how rewarding honesty can be.
Of all the things a little girl can aspire to, Charlotte McCourt of South Orange, New Jersey says the most important of these is to be truthful.
Yes, it's like a core feeling.
Why so important to you?
Because if you're not honest, then what are you?
Charlotte says the first 8 words of the Girl Scout law are, I will do my best to be honest. So when it came time to peddle her Girl Scout cookies, she decided to tell her customers the whole truth. In this letter to one customer that went viral on the internet, she wrote, the Girl Scout organization can sometimes use false advertisement. She then graded the cookies. She gave the Do-si-do a 5 for its unoriginal bland flavor, while saving most of her venom for the dreaded toffee-tastic. She gave it a 1 for being a bleak, flavorless, gluten-free wasteland. It's as flavorless as dirt, she wrote.
My sister and I threw out the box. Like, we tried everything. We tried dunking it in tea. We tried dunking it in hot chocolate. It is just gross.
Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies?
As you might expect, brutal honesty like that can have a dramatic impact on sales. Charlotte was hoping to sell 300 boxes.
Is that all?
But she got nowhere near that. Nowhere near.
That's you?
That is all me.
When we visited, she had already sold more than 23,000 boxes.
How do you explain this?
Truth in advertising.
Apparently, honesty has become such an aberration.
See, look.
The truth so sadly missed that when all these people read Charlotte's letter, they felt compelled to support her.
I sold thousands of Samoas and thousands of Thin Mints.
Have you sold any toffee-tastics?
To my grandmother.
It was before Charlotte wrote the letter.
Just 1 box.
So then she gave them to her friend who
has a dog?
Who has a gluten allergy.
Okay.
So there is your hope, America, that honesty can and will prevail.
Hard to imagine a better role model for honesty than Charlotte McCourt, who joins us now. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
Where did you learn to be so honest?
From my parents. My parents were very honest to me growing up, and that kind of taught me how to live my life and how to live my life honestly.
Do you think honesty is always the best policy, or are there exceptions? Like when my wife asks me if she looks good in a dress.
Honesty doesn't have to be your raw opinion. You can present honesty in a kind way, and honesty and kindness don't have to conflict. So I think instead of being honest all the time, just live your life with an air of honesty.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I really want to work in politics. I would love to be like a chief of staff for a senator.
So you're giving up on the honesty thing?
You can do both. You can do both.
You know that's not a field known for its honesty.
I think that's why it's so important to bring honesty into it.
Well, I think you've got our vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So that wraps up another successful class. And to celebrate, I'd like to reward you both with a heaping helping of Toffee-tastics.
Really?
Really?
They're horrible? No. Does anybody have water?
We'll see you next time.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning. This is Meryl, my daughter, and today's lesson is
Creativity.
very creative sign today.
Thank you.
For a definition, we go over to your brother Emmett below the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning. So creativity is essentially taking an old thing and looking at it in a new way that's kind of cool. It's kind of like thinking outside the box, or in this case, under the desk.
Right. Turning convention on its head.
Literally on its head in Emmett's case.
Exactly. Creativity makes things funnier, easier, or more beautiful than they would have been otherwise. And of course, I have a story to illustrate. This is about a man who's carved out quite a niche for himself in the art world. A man so creative, it's scary.
When you watch the Villafane family of Michigan dig into their Halloween pumpkins,
go start carving.
The first question that comes to mind is,
there he goes, there he goes.
What a pumpkin ever do to them? Norman Bates carved more kindly. And yet, this is how Ray Villafane teaches his kids how to start on a pumpkin.
Go.
And not just his kids.
Take this tool.
He goes around to schools and tries to get other kids to adopt the same skin 'em alive approach.
If you want to make a good pumpkin, you have to push the limits.
There's clearly a madness to his method, but Ray's not completely out of his gourd. In fact, he may be a genius.
It's a different way of thinking.
For the past 15 years, Ray has spent every October in his basement studio, reinventing the art of pumpkin carving. Using sculpting tools instead of knives, Ray can now take a pumpkin and over the course of about 8 hours, turn it into a truly museum-quality fruit.
To me, you carve a pumpkin to transform it into something that's alive.
Believe it or not, all these started out as single pumpkins, each carving more improbable than the next, each creation challenging the limits of what is pumpkinly possible.
I'm so obsessive. When I get into something, I don't go to sleep, I stay up all night, I keep doing it.
Has he been like this since you met him?
Pretty much. There's an apple, honey.
Ray's wife, Tammy, says pumpkins were just the beginning.
I need a knife.
They merely opened his eyes to an infinitely carvable world. Today, the former grade school teacher sculpts full-time. He makes models like this for toy companies, and he's starting to get into sand sculpting, too. This is what he made the first time he ever tried. Ray clearly has a gift. Such a gift, it's almost a curse.
I see the eyes are too big.
Like so many people who are the best at what they do,
Structure of the face is not right.
Ray is rarely satisfied with anything he does.
Would you throw it away?
I've thrown away better ones than this, yeah.
And although it drives his wife nuts, Ray says it's a healthy neurosis that fuels his creativity.
Done.
And of course, 15 years of practice doesn't hurt either.
Ray revolutionized the jack-o'-lantern. And before you say you could never do that, you're not a creative person, let's hear what Ray has to say on the subject. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
Do you worry about making mistakes when you're trying something new?
Usually never, except when I got people watching me. Sometimes when people are watching, we want to stay safe so we don't explore, which means that we don't create.
Is this why so many creative things happen in people's basements?
Yeah, probably that's right.
So do you have any specific tips for tapping into your creative side?
Yes, losing expectations, because sometimes when we want to create something, we make the goal more important than the process.
What do you do when you're not feeling particularly creative?
I go for walks, go for runs.
If you're stressed, you can never be creative. I've noticed that.
Absolutely. Your mind is like a vessel that has water in it. And those water are all your thoughts talking. And you want an idea, but there's no room in it because there's so much talking. You got to pour all that out and go like this. And all of a sudden, ideas and creativity just pour right in.
All right. Well, you've given us so much to work with. Thank you for all the great advice.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
You know, maybe we should invent a new way to carve pumpkins. Like maybe...
With your teeth?
No, yeah, with your teeth. Why not with your teeth?
Or what if you don't carve them at all?
Okay.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
We'll work on that. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi, everyone. Today's class is about reverence. For a definition, let's go over to my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk. Emmett?
Good morning, Meryl. When you show someone reverence, you're treating them with profound respect, almost like awe.
Right. And since Veterans Day is coming up, today we're going to focus on reverence for the military. Meryl, for the longest time, you could only fall asleep if your mom or I were in the room with you. Why was that?
I guess it gave me the knowing that somebody was watching over me.
Right. And adults need that too. We need someone to help us sleep at night. And that's why a lot of Americans have great reverence for our military guardians and their families. And people show that reverence in some remarkable ways, as you'll see in this story, pulled from our Kindness 101 archive, filed under Reverence.
Whoa. Even in Texas, a horse only gets you so far, which is why 15-year-old Justin Rozier has been thinking lately about a car. Specifically, he told his mom, Jessica, he would love to have a car that his dad once owned.
Whoa. I mean, it could have been a 1974 Dodge Astro. I don't even know if that's a car, but it could have been anything, and he would have said yes.
Why?
I know that he wishes his dad was here.
In 2003, Justin's dad, Army First Lieutenant Jonathan Rozier, died in Iraq. Justin was 9 months old. Today, he cherishes anything that used to belong to his dad, which is why he thought it would be so cool to have his car.
I don't know, like just knowing that he had it, it's a whole lot different than just any other thing.
Unfortunately, after John died, Jessica had to sell the car, a '99 Toyota Celica convertible like this one. Finding it again would be nearly impossible, but Jessica said she had to at least try.
So I feel like this is something that would connect him.
So she turned to Facebook, posted the old VIN number with a note asking for help. And somehow that message made it all the way to Pleasant Grove, Utah, where local residents not only found the car.
We decided, let's see if we can buy the car.
This is Kyle Fox. Now, I'm not saying he's a saint, but
to serve and
that butterfly stayed there for half an hour.
No, I don't even know where I was in that.
Anyway, Kyle, who runs a nonprofit called Follow the Flag, got donations to purchase the car and then assembled a team of volunteer mechanics to fix it like new. All of this, unbeknownst to Justin, until this very moment. Kyle drove the car from Utah to surprise Justin for his 15th birthday.
Go see it.
I can't tell you what this meant to Justin. I mean, I really can't. He tried to explain it to me, but when he opened his mouth, no words fell out.
It's a link to the past for him. Yeah. It's a big thing for me, too. I never got to see him come home. So that just one moment right there was, I think I needed that.
Obviously, this was never about a car. This was about finding a way to push past what you can't forget and somehow remember what you never knew.
I'm so glad we could do this for you.
Grateful American and butterfly magnet Kyle Fox joins us now. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Why do you think veterans and their families deserve such reverence?
To live in this land of freedom, somebody sacrificed to the extent of signing their life away. And so to just be free in America, I recognize the real truth of what it took to get me there.
What other things have you done to honor veterans?
A friend of mine, I asked him if he would help me hang a big flag across the canyon.
Wait, how do you do that?
We got a big line, and we kind of shower curtained a flag out there on July 3rd.
How big was this flag?
1/4 acre, 400 pounds, 5-foot stars.
Wow.
Were you ever in the military yourself?
I was not, but we all have ways that we can serve, and this has become mine.
Thank you so much. Thanks for talking to us, and thanks for all you've done.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Veterans Day is Friday. Obviously, we don't expect people to go out and donate a car to show their gratitude, but a little note might be nice. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is Meryl, my soon-to-be 9-year-old daughter, here to help me teach a lesson on
Positivity. Emmett, at the dictionary desk, can you define this word?
Yes, I can, Real. Positivity is the practice of extracting a sunny takeaway from a not-so-good situation.
Yeah, positivity isn't being happy because you won the lottery. That's easy.
It's not too easy.
No, not winning the lottery, but being happy if you win the lottery.
Yes. Winning the lottery is going to be something that everyone is excited about. Positivity is really like you have to take a bad situation and look at it.
Yeah, positivity is finding joy in the negative, strange as that sounds.
Correct.
And this is a very important tool to have in your tool belt. So let's look now in our library of life lessons and pull down a tale that illustrates the power of positivity.
Aside from immediate family, no one was allowed in the house to see 3-year-old Quinn Waters of Weymouth, Massachusetts. And more importantly, Quinn wasn't allowed out.
We basically keep him in a bubble just as a precaution.
Even a cold, a common cold, could be something that will bring him back into the hospital.
Parents Jarlath and Tara say Quinn's natural immunity was temporarily wiped out after he got a stem cell transplant to treat his brain cancer.
We are Italian.
Fortunately, the kid is a fighter, and he kept a mostly positive attitude.
Do you want a drink or anything, dude?
No, thank you.
But it still stunk.
He sees all of this happening and he knows he's stuck inside. And there would be days
when Quinn was literally pounding to get out.
Unfortunately, staring out a window is a poor substitute for walking out a door. Quinn's connection to the outside world has been limited to whoever passes by, which hasn't been all that limiting, actually.
It started off with family members like come to the window.
Then the neighbors started showing up to entertain. The police caught wind. And pretty soon, top-notch performers were just showing up on Quinn's front lawn.
It's turned into like a vaudeville stage out there.
Yeah, the window kind of became his window to the world, you know?
It got so you never knew what might happen by. One minute it could be a dog parade.
Look at that dog.
The next, a team of Irish step dancers. Everyone brought together by word of mouth and a will to help Quinn get better. Which his parents say did start happening.
It's the positive energy from all these people that we believe has gotten him through his sickness, you know. You can never repay, you know. Just maybe pay it forward, you know.
Being indebted has never felt so fortunate.
Come on without, come on within. You'll not see nothing like the mighty Queen.
Quinn's parents, Tara and Jarlath, join us now. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
First of all, you've got to tell us how Quinn's doing.
Oh, Quinn is doing really well. He relapsed in 2021, but since that time, he received radiation and he's been stable.
Playing t-ball now with his friends. He's in school.
He looks great. Hair. I've never seen hair on the boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
He's got a great flow going. He's got the hockey hair, we call it.
What struck me most after our first visit was the fact that you seemed to think that positivity would actually make him better.
I don't think it can all be just modern medicine. I think you have to have a positive outlook on things.
So you think that thoughts can change reality?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It'll change the outcome, and I think it'll change your outlook as you go on anything.
And has the grass grown back on your yard?
Grass will never be the same.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We've been positively thrilled to have you.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
A really good lesson there. And a reminder that often when one door closes, another window opens. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl.
Hi, everyone. Today we're talking about not talking, or otherwise known as listening.
Emmett, at the dictionary desk, how would you define this word?
For our purposes here, I would define listening as showing respect with your ears.
Ooh, with your ears. Getting fancy with the definitions.
I like that.
Yeah. Listening is actually one of the best ways to show someone you care or to make friends, which is kind of counterintuitive. Like, how could listening help you make friends?
It's just nice to know someone's listening, that somebody cares, that somebody will always be there for you.
And like to know that their opinion matters.
Exactly. To prove the point, let's turn now to our library of great American role models and pull a story guaranteed to make you a better person, if only you listen.
In St. Petersburg, Florida, when the sun rises, Al Nixon sets for his impromptu therapy sessions.
How have you been?
Are you surprised at what people tell you?
Not anymore.
Al isn't a trained therapist.
I've been concerned.
He actually works for the city water department.
He's dismissing you.
But in these early morning hours, he's a trusted confidant and counselor to whoever passes by.
And I wrote to him and I said,
Renee Rutstein is a regular.
he knows everything about me.
Did you feel weird sharing all your secrets to a guy on a bench?
No, because he'll never judge me and he always shoots me straight.
He's not judgmental and he takes you for who you are.
Bernadette Dorset Mills says she has never met a wiser man.
He's like the guiding force.
At the same time, I don't hear you talking a lot.
No.
I just see a lot of nodding, like you're doing now. And a lot of mm-hms.
Listening is the #1 skill all mankind needs to know how to do very well.
A skill he has clearly mastered.
When Al started coming here 7 years ago, the therapy was for him. He needed a quiet place to clear his head, and the last thing he wanted was to hear other people's problems. But then a woman he'd never met told him something he'll never forget.
She said, every day I see you, I know everything is going to be okay. And that made me realize that when you speak to someone or you smile, you let them know I value you, and people pick that up.
When I walk by, sometimes, I don't even get a chance to chat with him because there are other people waiting in line.
In appreciation for always being there, Al's faithful put a plaque on his bench. To a loving and loyal friend and a confidant to many, forever and always.
That was powerful.
How can such a simple plaque be that powerful?
When you express to someone, you matter to me.
They gave you back what you gave them.
Everyone needs an Al.
Good morning, sweetie.
Even Al.
Have a great day. You too.
Fortunately, I don't just have an Al, I have the Al. He joins us now. Hello.
How's everyone doing?
We're doing great, thank you.
If people started talking less and listening more, how do you think it would change their lives?
In my opinion, I think you learn when you speak less and listen more.
How far away do people come to see you?
From all over the country and different parts of the world.
Why do you think people come from far and wide?
They want selfies and they want to sit on the bench. They want to actually be on that bench with me.
Do you think it helps you as much as it helps them?
Yes, I think it helps me in the sense that I know what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
To know your purpose is practically the meaning of life.
You're a beautiful man. I know it probably makes you uncomfortable to say as many words as you had to today, but we really appreciate you talking with us.
Thank you very much. And kindness matters. And one of the greatest ways you can show kindness is to care enough to listen.
Great. Thank you so much, Al.
You're welcome, Steve.
You know, I find it helpful sometimes when I'm in a conversation to think of how many words I'm saying versus how many words the other person is saying. And I try to keep it to 1 word for me for every 2 words for them. And I think if everybody did that, the world would be a kinder place.
Wait a second. That wouldn't work out mathematically. Not everyone can do that.
He needs to know when to listen. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hello, everyone. Today our word is remembrance.
And we begin with my son, Emmett, over at the dictionary desk.
Good morning. Remembrance is the act of remembering or showing respect for someone who has died.
Right. It can also be a memento, something that reminds you of that person. That dictionary in front of you, you know where that came from?
No.
That was my mom's.
Oh, really?
Even the stapler was my mom's, I think.
You saved that?
Yeah.
Probably because it gives you good memories of your parents.
In my everyday tasks.
Yeah, which I think is actually pretty cool.
Remembrance, whether it's a thought or a thing, keeps people alive in our hearts. And on this day, it's especially important. Which is why I pulled a story from our library about a 9/11 widow and her remarkable act of remembrance.
After 20 years in a box, Monica Eichen is ironing her wedding dress, getting ready to wear it once more. And although she will wipe away every wrinkle, she will not smooth over the tragedy it represents.
I think wearing the dress makes a statement.
What is the statement?
That I was happily married the day he died. And I was looking forward to having a family.
Monica was married just 11 months when her husband Michael, a bond trader, died in Tower 2. It was a brief marriage, but Monica says the loss feels everlasting.
There is no moving on. You never move on from it. You move in. You move into the life that was chosen for you.
Hi, my name is Monica Eichen, founder of September's Mission.
When I first met Monica, just 4 months after 9/11, she'd already moved into that new life.
We will fight.
Advocating for a memorial on the site of the towers and warning that any other use of the land would be unacceptable.
You're going to stand down there
Absolutely.
in front of the bulldozers and not let them put up a building.
Right. We don't build over crying souls.
She was tenacious, relentless.
George Pataki, New York governor at the time, says it's important to remember that a lot of people didn't think we needed a memorial here.
People had just said we had to move on, just rebuild. But Monica said this was hallowed ground.
Was there a louder voice than hers?
A lot of people deserve credit for that, but certainly Monica Eichen is among the most.
Monica has since remarried and has a family, but she freely admits and has come to accept that she will always be in love with 2 men.
We can live our lives, but still keep that memory.
Moving in, but never moving on. Her motto and her vision for this most sacred space.
Monica Eichen joins us now. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What else do you have from Michael that you cherish?
I have his baseball cards that he saved, not in good condition, by the way. I have the shorts I didn't like, the hat I didn't like, the shirt I didn't like.
Why do we save these things? There's something about having the shorts that you hated.
It just brings back fun memories.
Is it hard for your new husband that Michael still feels so much of your heart?
Yes, it's unfortunate. It's not his fault, and it's not my fault. We can't control who we love in life, let's put it that way.
The memorial is our national remembrance, but it's personal to you. What goes through your mind when you look at those pools?
I feel Michael when I'm there. So for me, that is where I'm happiest because I know he's there.
I'm curious, we were just there. What went through your mind when you were looking in those pools?
How hard it must have been for everybody that lost people there.
Obviously, that memorial is doing its job, that kids and future generations will still feel the loss.
I just also don't want it to be always sad. Like, yes, there are sad moments, but I want it to be more inspiring. Like, we have to live for them.
Monica, thank you for all you've done and for being with us today.
Thank you, as always. Pleasure.
A remembrance can be something big, like those 2 giant fountains. Or it can be something small, like a tattered dictionary. But it's always a monument to love, loss, and the spirit that lives in you. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is Merrill.
Hi, everyone. Today's topic is finding joy. And for a definition, we go to my smiling brother, Emmett, at the dictionary desk.
Good morning, Meryl. I'm defining joy as a feeling of great delight, intense, ecstatic happiness.
I'll take some of that. You remember the other day when I was taking air out of that inner tube?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That was fun.
Oh, that was really fun for whatever reason. I don't know if it was like the of like the air going out.
It was just taking air out of an inner tube.
I don't know. There's really like random things in life that bring you joy for some reason.
Or what about... Are you really enjoying this?
Yeah. It's just really satisfying.
This is proof that if you want to find joy, especially in the little things, you need to think like a child. And no one proves that point better than the kid you're about to meet. This is a story from my archive about how you can find pure joy, even in the most unlikely places.
Kyle Critchbaum of Adrian, Michigan is vacuuming on cloud 9.
It's kind of like people who like baseball better than football.
You like vacuums better than...
Everything.
And he's felt that way since before he could say Hoover.
When Kyle was a baby in his little baby seat and I'd be vacuuming, he would just be mesmerized by the vacuum and he'd follow it everywhere.
So his mom got him his own vacuum at age 1, dressed up as a dirt devil for Halloween at age 2, and as his former teacher recalls, was vacuuming during recess at age 6.
And actually one day vacuum one side of the room, the next day vacuum the other side of the room, also vacuum the principal's office, anywhere he could vacuum.
Later, he started collecting them,
It's a slow starter, but it still runs perfect.
much to the chagrin of his older sister.
He's constantly vacuuming, and that's all I hear. And it's just like, why? Why? I don't understand.
Do you remember what it was?
Kyle is so obsessed, he had me call my parents to find out what vacuum I grew up with.
They had a JCPenney at one time.
A Pencrest.
Apparently, this particular vacuum is very rare. Only one other is known to exist.
What'd you do with it? You threw it out?
And there went his holy grail. But that's part of the joy for Kyle, the quest. He repairs neighbors' vacuums and uses the money to acquire more
Did it survive?
and more vacuums.
When is enough enough?
My parents say that all the time. When I go off to college, my parents say that they're going to have a big vacuum sale.
He thinks they're joking. I'm not so sure.
It's been 16 years since we first told that story. Is it possible? Is he still finding joy from vacuum cleaners? Let's find out. Hello, Kyle.
Hello, how's it going?
Good.
Do you still have your collection?
I do. I have a shelf with like vacuum stacked vertically and horizontally across some shelves.
Wow.
Did you ever get your hands on a green Pencrest?
Ah, I sure did.
You did?
Isn't that hilarious?
Where did it come from? It wasn't from Toledo, Ohio, was it?
It was from Akron, Ohio.
Oh, it could be the same
Wait,
one.
no way.
I know, maybe somebody picked it up.
What has been your most joyous moment as a collector?
If I find something that like one of my friends is after and then I can restore it and surprise them with it, that's always fun. My restoration...
Wait. What kind of friends do you have?
Vacuum friends, come on.
Because if you surprised me with that old vacuum, I'm not sure that would bring me joy.
That's awesome.
How have you been able to maintain this childhood joy into adulthood?
I don't know. I feel like we get so dogged nowadays with like everything that's going on in the world that you have to find something to like and appreciate, you know?
Kyle, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
I'm glad we did that lesson, because if he can find joy in cleaning equipment, we should be able to find it in a lot of other unlikely places. All we need to do is think like a child. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter Meryl with a lesson on
Sacrifice. And for a definition, we turn now to my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
Hi, Meryl. So I'm defining sacrifice as giving up something that's important to you for the sake of someone else or to benefit them.
Good. And why would anyone ever want to do that?
Well, can I use a chess reference super quick?
Sure.
So a sacrifice in chess is like when you sacrifice a piece, but it helps you like later on. So a sacrifice isn't always something that is just a complete loss to you. You can gain something from a sacrifice as well.
Interesting. We'll get to that in a bit.
All right.
Sacrifice is next level kindness. Kindness 201, sort of. Master's level kindness. This is when you give till it hurts because you know in the end you'll receive something far greater. To see what I mean, let's take a look in our library. A tale of a man who has so much because he sacrificed so much.
At one point, number 60, Jason Brown was one of the best centers in the NFL. At one point, he had a 5-year, $37 million contract with the St. Louis Rams. And at one point, he sacrificed all of it.
My agent, he told me, he said, "You're making the biggest mistake of your life." And I looked right back at him. I said, "No, I am not."
So what could possibly trump the NFL? You wouldn't believe. Jason quit football to be a farmer, even though he'd never done it a day in his life.
How did you learn even to do what you're doing?
Get on the internet, you watch YouTube videos.
You can still plant your crop.
Thanks to YouTube and some good advice from other farmers here in Lewisburg, North Carolina, Jason was able to harvest a field of sweet potatoes.
When you see them pop up out of the ground, man, it's the most beautiful thing that you could ever see.
He says he has never felt more successful.
Not in man's standards, but in God's eyes.
But God cares about the NFL. I see people praying to him on the field all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people praying out there. But when I think about a life of greatness, I think about a life of service.
Which leads us here.
Which leads us here, yes.
See, his plan for this farm is to donate the bounty to food pantries.
It's unusual for a grower to grow a crop just to give away.
Rebecca Page organizes food collection for the needy.
And that's what Jason has done. And he's planning to do more next year.
Jason has 1,000 acres here, which could go a long way toward eliminating hunger in this neck of North Carolina.
Love is the most wonderful currency that you can give anyone.
You sure you played in the NFL?
Yes.
Because I feel like cuddling you right now.
Don't do that.
Apparently, even on the farm, holding is still a penalty.
Farmer Brown joins us now. Hello, Jason.
Glad to be here coming from First Fruits Farm.
You should have tried hugging my dad. It's not as bad as you might think.
Look, I know I look like a big teddy bear, but you got to be warned, don't try and hug the bears.
Are you still giving away what you grow?
Definitely. To date, we have donated more than 1 million pounds of food and still growing.
How do you afford to do that?
We have thousands of volunteers. They'll give up a Saturday morning to come get their hands dirty and help to harvest and grow all of this awesome food.
What have you gained from your sacrifice? It seems illogical that sacrifice could get you something.
Oh, well, guess what? All good things come with sacrifice. You're not going to be able to get the awesome juice from the berries or the grapes unless they're squeezed. You're not able to get diamonds unless they're put under pressure, all right? And going through sacrifices, that's what actually brings out the best in us.
Beautiful. Jason, thank you so much for what you do and for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know that saying, give till it hurts? I think we need to change that to give till it hurts and then keep giving till it feels great. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter, Meryl.
And I'm here with the word of the day, encouragement.
And across the way, my son Emmett with a definition.
So this one's really easy because the definition is hidden right in the word. Encouragement is giving someone courage and confidence.
Interesting. You know, without encouragement, I don't even think Superman could accomplish what he did. Imagine if people were like, you can't go faster than a speeding bullet. There's a lot of kryptonite out there.
Well, I think also a lot of people just need a voice out there to tell them that they're going to succeed.
Good. And of course, I have a story to share about this. A story pulled from our archive about the importance of going to bat for people, otherwise known as encouragement.
11-year-old Ellie Dowdy of Amherst, Virginia, eats, sleeps, and talks baseball.
Now up to bat.
She announces for her local junior varsity team. and practices big league broadcasting from her living room.
Look at his blocking skills.
But she didn't know girls could do this as a career until she listened to a Baltimore Orioles game.
Now there's 2 outs.
And I thought, I can do that too. That is possible.
Ellie's proof possible is play-by-play announcer Melanie Newman.
How we doing?
Ellie was so taken by her that a couple years ago she reached out to Melanie in the only way she knew how.
Oh, that is cute.
Her sign read, "Hey Melanie Newman, need help in the booth?"
There's Mel.
And the answer was yes.
All right, Ellie, are you ready to call a pitch?
Yeah, yes ma'am.
All right.
Melanie invited Ellie to call part of a game
Have a 3-2 count.
because Melanie assumed that's what the girl wanted.
We have a outside ball.
And it was, in part.
But when Ellie held up that sign, she didn't just want to help Melanie in the booth. She wanted to help Melanie as a person.
I was just hoping that she would see it and see that a lot of young girls are looking up to her, because when Melanie was growing up, she had to push through all the people telling her that no, only men can do that.
It's true. And some men continued to hurl sexist barbs at Melanie on social media. But there to deflect them, with her single-ply poster board, stands Ellie Dowdy, who returned with a new sign that read, "Melanie Newman is fire."
What does that feel like to see that?
It really takes you back for a minute.
And here's where we saw just how much Melanie appreciates the support.
I paid a lot of dues to just get here. And the hope is when those little girls make those signs, their dues are so much less.
In sports, people are always clawing their way to the top.
This is so cool.
But the true heroes of any game are the ones who lift others.
Ellie Dowdy joins us now. Hello, Ellie.
Hi. Did you have any idea how much Melanie would appreciate your encouragement?
I really didn't. She signaled a heart, and I just thought that'd be the end of it. But then later, Mom got a call, and she wanted to meet me.
Are you still in touch with Melanie?
Yes, I am. We talk on Instagram all the time, and she comments on my posts encouraging me. And whenever she's on the TV for the Orioles, I always text her and make sure to let her know that she's doing great.
You got like a little encouragement party going on there.
Always.
What are some ways we can show encouragement to our friends?
School, like if somebody is very nervous about a test or something, and you can just be like, I know you got this. You're gonna pass this test.
And you think that will actually help them pass the test?
Because if others think you can do it, then you think you can do it.
That's so perfect. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This was good, because friendship is about more than good company. It's about instilling confidence in each other. And if you're not doing that, I encourage you to do so. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is Merrill, and welcome to our lesson on
Advocacy. And we begin, as we so often do, with my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
So when you're advocating for someone, you're basically pleading on their behalf. It's like helping other people help themselves.
Good. Can you give me some examples?
Martin Luther King advocated for civil rights.
Lawyers advocate for their clients.
Oh, and it could even come down to parents advocating for their kids.
Great. And of course, I have a story to show you about advocacy. And I chose this story because it's about some people who advocated not for a cause or a friend or a relative, but for a total stranger. And the results? Well, they were life-changing.
It's generally not polite to stare at people in a gym, but here at the YMCA in Nashville, Tennessee, there was one college girl named Lauren Lax that some people couldn't help but look at. Couldn't help but notice how thin she was getting, how dangerously thin she was getting.
Her body was just deteriorating, you could see it.
Her eyes were getting kind of gray and sunk in and didn't look good.
They say it was a pity to watch, and most people would have probably left it at that. But not these Y members.
We knew what we had to do.
First thing they did was secretly track down Lauren's parents, who lived in another state. Her folks confirmed that Lauren was anorexic and had been since she was about 10. Over the years, she'd been in and out of treatment several times, to no avail. So the group started plotting their own intervention.
We can't sit back and one day she not be here because we didn't do something.
It happened here in the parking lot. When Lauren arrived for her workout, they surrounded her car and told her they were taking her to the hospital. Lauren protested. She cried, said, "Leave me alone," pretty forcefully. And yet this random group of people who really barely knew her refused to give up on her.
We said, we're not taking no for an answer. Please, we're just going to take the hospital and have your vital signs checked.
We could not let her get away. If she left us, we'd never see her again.
They all agree.
Yes.
And now, Lauren too.
So I don't think I would be here talking today.
Lauren says after they brought her to the hospital, her heart came so close to failing, doctors almost had to put in a pacemaker. But she survived that scare, returned to treatment, and put on 35 pounds.
I cannot even express how my mind thinks so differently than I did.
What a gift they gave you.
They were the instigators of starting my recovery. How are you?
See ya.
Those folks could have so easily just said, "Not my problem," but instead they advocated. Not because Lauren was friend or family, but because she's human.
You look so wonderful!
It's been 9 years since I first told that story, and we can't wait to catch up with Lauren. Hello, how you doing?
It's great to see you again.
Do you stay in touch with them?
I do. I stay in touch with them regularly. I text with them regularly and actually had a reunion this past year to honor the angels and set up a fund for individuals that are struggling with eating disorders.
When the people at the gym wanted to help you, why did you put up such a fight?
I thought I could do it on my own. I thought I was doing it on my own and fighting for just my freedom, I guess. But really what I didn't realize is I actually was not free. I was very much in bondage to something greater than I could have overcome on my own.
What happened after the treatment?
My life path really was altered, actually. I've been working one-on-one with individuals for the past almost 10 years now to really help individuals take their health back into their own hands is my biggest life mission now.
And what should you do if you know someone with an eating disorder, but they say they don't want your help?
I guess one thing that one of my angels said to me that morning in the parking lot is, "Lauren, we don't know what we would do if tomorrow we come to the gym and you're not there." And so really speaking truth and love could be what separates just a person's life from death situation as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
You know, change almost never comes easy, especially when you feel alone. But when someone steps up to be your advocate, takes your hand and says, "Let's fight this together," what seemed impossible, all of a sudden, isn't. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. Today, Meryl and I are here to offer
Comfort. And as always, we start with my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
Good morning. To comfort means to make someone feel better when they are sad and worried.
Good. Typically, our first taste of comfort comes from our parents and our lovies. Like me, right?
Yes, of course, Duck.
This was Meryl's lovey.
Oh, and this was my lovey. I used to carry it around nonstop when I was 3.
What if you didn't have them as children?
Awful. It would be awful if I didn't have them.
I'm actually really enjoying the comfort of this blanket right now.
Yeah, none of your friends at school are going to see this.
You can just edit that part.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, that's what lovies do. But they can also open a portal into some very deep feelings never felt before. As you'll see in this story, pulled from our archives, about a lovey and this basic human need for comfort.
Your hands are so sticky.
Whoever coined the phrase military brat
Let's get a paper towel.
obviously never met the angelic daughter of Army Staff Sergeant Nicholas Paugham and his wife Jen. Mackenzie is 3. And if you look closely at pictures of her over the years, you'll notice something. That giraffe, which she calls Raffy, is in almost every shot.
She always wants to go to bed with it. When she's sick, she wants it. It's like her friend. The way that she acts with it is like it's her friend.
Jen says this friend has been Mackenzie's constant through their many moves and has been especially comforting during Nick's deployments.
When he's gone for weeks and months at a time, she still has this one thing.
Had this one thing.
Yeah, sorry.
It got lost during their most recent move.
Raffi is her lifeline.
It's one of the only things that she has all the time.
Losing a lovey really can feel
Raffi,
like a very big deal.
where are you, Raffi?
Mackenzie first noticed Raffi was missing right before their move from Washington State to Pennsylvania.
I'm gonna take him to Pennsylvania.
Her parents assumed he was in a box somewhere.
Not yet.
But for 11 long days, Mackenzie had to live without her soulmate. Until finally, at the very end of their unpacking.
As soon as Jen found it, I was like, let me record this reaction.
We have to get this.
They hid Raffi in the refrigerator and told Mackenzie to get a drink. As you would expect, she was delighted to be reunited.
What is it?
But in this moment, Mackenzie made another, even more surprising discovery. That a very strange thing happens when you're really, really happy.
Choo-choo.
Oh, because you're happy.
He's back now.
In all of her life, she'd never been so happy that she cried.
He's back, Choo.
It's gotta feel weird the first time. But surrendering to this quirky human trait can be one of life's greatest joys, as I'm sure some of you at home can now attest. It's been 8 years since we first told that story, and we have questions. Joining us now, Jen, Nicholas, and Mackenzie. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
We're great.
Is Raffi still with you?
Yes, I have him right here.
Wow. You know, you still have Raffi, Meryl still has Duck, Emmett still has Scratch Blankie, and I still have the blanket I had 50 years ago. Why do we hold on to these things long after we supposedly, need them?
It's something that you have a close connection with, and it holds that comfort. And I don't think you can ever really get rid of something like that, voluntarily at least.
I was going to say that, loveys are mostly plush. But I've done a story about a kid who carried around a full-size skeleton as his lovey, lawn ornaments. So if it's not the softness that makes for a great lovey, what is it?
It helps you go through your emotions, and it just makes you love it and care for it more than anything.
And we're hoping when she's in college, she's the only college student with her stuffy. So she has a story to tell.
That's great. Thank you very much for talking with us today.
Oh, absolutely.
No problem.
No story I've ever told shows more clearly our craving for comfort. And although we outgrow our blankies and stuffies, we should never forget the example they set and comfort others with the same love and devotion as they comforted us. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter Meryl, and this is our lesson on
Humanity. And we begin our lesson with my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
So I think I have a good definition for this one. Humanity is the moral thread that binds all humans together.
That is a good one. I'd also say that to show humanity is to see our sameness. To look at pictures like these and not immediately start sorting them like biker dude or religious people or person with disabilities. But instead to look at pictures like these and see, Emmett?
Human.
Right.
Human.
Right.
They're all human.
All human. And if we start seeing people all as the same first, what does that eliminate?
Racism.
Yeah.
And like gender discrimination, I guess, as well.
Excellent. A few years ago, I met a woman who wasn't great at seeing everyone as a person first. But she got better, much better, and is now the perfect example for how to see and show humanity.
Used to be, when Ginger Sprouse came across homeless people, she would often give them something. Her 2 cents.
I would say, why don't you get a job? Or what's your problem? I've been that way my whole life.
But one day, Ginger, who owns a cooking school outside Houston, decided she didn't like that about herself and would try to change.
He would stand right here on the corner.
She began
Right there.
by approaching a guy she used to see all the time on her way to work. His name is Victor Hubbard. Victor says he told Ginger how he ended up on the streets after his mother moved away and left him.
You had no idea where your mom
No,
was?
I didn't know where she was.
He says Ginger listened to his story and went on her way.
Then I couldn't get him out of my mind. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll go back. But what really got me, this is probably after the third time I met him, he said, when are you coming back?
It was a light bulb moment that led to one final visit.
It was a cold December night, and although Victor had food and blankets, there's only so much comfort you can pass through a car window. So Ginger did something the old Ginger would have never dreamed of doing.
She went to her husband with a request.
I asked Dean, would it be okay with you if I went and got him? And I said, if he could just stay one night because it's raining.
Well, okay, stop right there.
Okay.
I had to think about it, you know.
I'm sure you did. I'm starting to recognize a slippery slope here.
Yes, exactly. The honest truth is, you know, when she says, I feel compelled to help this guy, how can I say no to that?
And that's how Victor Hubbard found his second family.
Oh, yeah.
Moving in with Ginger and Dean.
He was my favorite.
They helped him get social services and doctor's appointments, introduced him to the community, and made him part of it. Victor also got 2 jobs, one at a burger joint.
Yep, just like that.
And another at a cooking school.
There you go, looks good. Life is messy, but if you're gonna love other people, you have to be willing to step into their mess. My whole life, I've wanted to avoid that. That's why I rolled the window up and didn't look.
Give it some distance.
And that's why she now rolls it down to let the blessings blow in.
Ginger Sprouse joins us now. Hello, Ginger.
Good morning.
How's Victor doing?
He is working a full-time job.
Is he still working with you, or he's got a different job?
He has his own job. He said it's too much like working for his mother.
Okay.
He has an apartment. He has a roommate.
So he moved out?
They moved out on their own. He didn't want
What do
to
you
be
mean
stuck
they?
out on-
Was the roommate living with you too?
Briefly.
So you've helped other homeless people?
In different iterations. I don't have everyone move in with me.
But still, does this Ginger recognize that old Ginger that was rolling up the car window?
You know, once you've helped one person, I don't think that I could ever go back the other way, because you realize there could be somebody incredible on the other side of the window that you wouldn't have met otherwise.
That's great. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
It was good to talk to you guys.
You know, earlier Emmett defined humanity as the moral thread that binds all people together. And when we break that thread, start dividing people into saints and sinners, winners and losers, or worst of all, us and them, we are quite literally not living up to our name, human being. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter and sidekick, Meryl.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our lesson on vision.
And for a definition, we go now to my son Emmett over at the dictionary desk.
Good morning. So for the purposes of this lesson, I'm defining vision as the power to see into the future.
Ooh, sounds magical. Almost like having your own personal crystal ball.
That's so cool.
How'd you do that?
With vision, you're able to look past whatever problems you have in front of you today to the person that you can become, a vision of your future. And who better to teach us about vision than a person who is blind? In this story, pulled from our archive, we see how getting through even your darkest hour is possible with good vision.
I chose to tell this story mainly for an audience of one.
Yes.
This 12-year-old named Ted.
Yes.
Ted is my nephew, and he says sometimes his blindness feels insurmountable.
I see.
I thought like I was doomed. That does sound a little immature, but
A woe is me kind of feeling?
yes, I really want to be like everybody else sometimes, you know.
And that's why, when I heard about this drag racer attempting to set a new world speed record, I thought Ted and others like him had to meet the driver. In 2012, Dan Parker of Columbus, Georgia, got in a crash. He suffered a traumatic brain injury so severe it blinded him.
I never imagined I'd be back in the seat of a race car. But I've been a racer my whole life. I just had to figure out another way to do it.
A machinist by trade, Dan got adaptive equipment so he could make parts, and then designed this entire race car.
That just amazes me. What does he look like?
Mustache and a beard?
I don't have a mustache.
You have a mustache?
See? Whiskers. I hope nobody sees them.
Oh, don't worry about it. That won't be an issue. Anyway, back to our story.
Dan was attempting to set the Guinness record for fastest car driven blindfolded. Of course, no blindfold was needed, but he did have a special audio guidance system and, for safety purposes, a sighted driver next to him, hands hovering over the steering wheel just in case. It wasn't necessary. Dan went 211 miles an hour, set a record, and more importantly, an example.
Ted, I want you to know that blindness is not what is stopping you. Surround yourself with believers and go for your dreams. You can make excuses or make it happen.
New Guinness World Records title.
Dan says inspiring the Teds of the world is the main reason he did this. And if my nephew is any indication, it was well worth the drive.
If you can do that, well, then I think I could easily pursue my dream. Wait, what about flying a plane?
That's exactly what I wanted to come from this. Joining us now, my nephew Ted. Welcome to Kindness 101.
It's great to be here.
How's your facial hair coming, Ted?
Bro, it's great. I mean, it's
It
nice
looks
and
like you
long.
shaved.
I did shave.
I should also mention that after that story first aired, you got an offer.
Yes, I got an invitation by a pilot. He was very generous.
You ready to go? I'm ready. Okay, pull back.
What was that like?
So fun. It was amazing. We're flying. It's like driving a car.
Well, wait, have you driven a car before?
When I was younger, I did go down your driveway on a...
This is news to me.
Well, I had my mom's help, but you know.
Oh, okay.
So how have these examples and experiences changed your thinking?
Like it's opened the door and shown me everything that's possible in this world.
What do you feel like you can't do now?
What I can't do is be pessimistic.
Ted, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, it's been a great pleasure. Great pleasure.
You know, people always say to live in the moment, and that's great when things are going well. But when times are tough, it's just as important not to dwell, to look past the present, using not your eyes, but your vision. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about motivation. But before we do, let's start with the definition from my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
Good morning, Meryl. Motivation is what powers people to achieve a goal. It's basically the reason we're able to accomplish what we accomplish.
Right. Motivation is the driving force behind our actions. I mean, without motivation, we'd just be sitting here right now, staring at each other. So what's our motivation for doing this?
Well, you'd get fired. It'd be kind of embarrassing, and people would change the channel.
Get fired, people will change the channel. I think we're motivated to help people by doing Kindness 101.
Yes. To motivate others is probably the best motivation of all. And today's story is the perfect example of that. It's about a boy who found purpose and passion thanks to a few choice words of motivation.
He was only in 3rd grade, but Henry Boyer already knew what he wanted to be, a passion he discovered after attending a University of Michigan football game.
They were that good?
My mind was blown of how good they played.
But it wasn't the football that he fell for. It was the marching band. And from that moment to this, Henry has been rocking out to their CD.
Let's go Blue!
And watching old halftime shows on YouTube. He even wrote a letter to the band saying how he'd love to sign up someday. In response, they sent him a bunch of swag and a card, inviting him to audition when he's old enough.
I just really liked the card.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Surprised and heartwarmed.
His mother got it on video.
What did they say?
They said they going to accept me in a few years.
Into what?
Into the marching band.
Are you excited?
Yes, I'm really excited.
That was nice of them, huh?
After that, Henry asked his mom if he could double up on piano lessons and started taking drums too.
Like the card said, practice hard and I will practice hard.
So you can get there someday.
Yes. I just have a really good feeling that I'm going to be in the marching band.
If all goes as planned, Henry will join the band in the fall of 2029. But we thought, and the school agreed, that's an awfully long time to wait for a dream to come true. So we set up a little surprise, right behind this door.
No way.
Henry, this is your Michigan marching band.
No way.
Oh. We're so excited to have you here with us, Henry.
I can't believe I'm here.
The Michigan Marching Band wrote out a single note, and just look at the symphony that followed.
You got it.
A masterpiece of motivation that struck a major chord in this young man's life. So now, hopefully, no matter where his music takes him, Henry will always follow the lead of this marching band and play it forward.
Nice job.
You guys have the best music ever. I can't wait to join.
Oh yeah, it'll come soon.
Henry Boyer joins us now. Hello, Henry.
Hello.
What was it about the card that you found so motivating?
Having the entire band believe in me, it was just this crazy feeling of joy.
And the band had you back again?
I was able to lead them to the stadium, the big house. They brought me to the field. I was able to go onto the field.
And I imagine that motivated you even more.
Oh, it 100% did.
Yeah.
What if Ohio State offered you a spot in their band?
I'm not gonna say yes.
That's what I figured.
Okay. Henry, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad we didn't just sit here for 5 minutes staring at each other.
I am too.
And hopefully we motivated you to inspire the Henrys in your life. We'll see you next time.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning, class. This is Meryl, my daughter and co-teacher for our lesson on
generosity. And as always, we'll begin with my brother Emmett at the dictionary desk.
Good morning, Meryl. Generosity is the willingness to help someone. And I would add more than what is typical or expected.
Yeah, that last part is key. I have a whole bag of Smarties here. Is this generous?
Not at all.
How about this? Is that generous?
Yes, that's very generous.
What if I owned a whole Smartie factory? Would that be generous?
I would be disappointed if you owned a Smartie factory and this is the best you could do. I'm sorry.
Here's how I think you can tell if you're generous. If you have a cookie and you cut it in half and you're going to share with a friend, you know how one half is always a little bit bigger than the other half?
Yeah.
Which half do you give away?
I would give away the smaller half.
Okay, it's good that you're in on this class. Giving more than is expected is hard. Fortunately, I can help with that by turning to our library for a story to hopefully inspire all of us to be a little more generous.
To 11-year-old Jude Kofi of Aurora, Colorado, this surprise was music to his eyes. Obviously, whoever said the best things come in small packages was never gifted a grand piano. Jude's father, Isaiah.
So one day it just shows up at the house?
Yes, all for free. Who does that?
The answer in a moment.
Moses?
But first, the reason. A couple years ago, Jude's dad heard a noise coming from the basement. There was an old keyboard down there, but no one knew how to play it. Certainly not his autistic son, Jude. Or so he thought. Isaiah then got Jude a larger keyboard to see what more he could do. And boy, could he do. The kid never had a lesson. No one taught him any of this.
How do you explain that you're as good as you are?
It's a miracle.
You think it's a miracle?
That's what I prefer.
Bill Magnuson prefers that too.
Is he special?
It's beyond special. He's Mozart level. It's coming from somewhere beyond.
Bill is a piano tuner. He saw a local news story about Jude, heard him play, learned how his parents immigrated from Ghana, how they're raising 4 children and sending money back to Ghana.
What resources are left over to help this special little soul?
Yours.
Yeah.
Using an inheritance from his father, Bill bought the piano, spent $15,000. He has promised to tune it once a month for the rest of his life.
Very nice.
And he's even paying for Jude to get professional lessons.
We're family now.
Somebody to just love your son like that by making sure that his future is secured. We are super thankful. Yeah.
Press the pedal.
Caring for other children as your own. The ultimate act of generosity.
The beneficiaries of Bill's boundless generosity. Join us now. Hello, Isaiah. Hello, Jude.
Hello. Is Bill still in your life?
Oh, yes. He's always checking on us. We call him, they call us. He's so much in our life, and we love that.
What do you think motivates someone like Bill to be so generous?
I think it's the sheer goodness of how he wants everybody to feel.
Has all of this inspired you to be more generous?
Oh, yes, of course.
Going to the hospitals, playing for families and kids so that we can use his gift and talent and all that to help people.
Woo!
I love you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm so glad you're doing so well.
Thanks so much.
You are so welcome.
Bye.
We saw there what joy generosity can bring. And you don't need to buy someone a grand piano. In fact, all you need to do to get started is next time, when you cut that cookie in half to share with a friend, give them the bigger piece. And see if maybe, just maybe, the smaller piece might taste just a little bit sweeter. We'll see you next time.
And don't forget to stay kind.
Good morning. This is Meryl, my daughter and master sign maker.
And today we're talking about thankfulness. For a definition, we toss it over to someone I'm mostly thankful for, my brother Emmett.
Right back at you, Meryl. So thankfulness is a warm or friendly feeling that you get in response to another person's actions.
Right. Thankfulness is not that reflex response, like when somebody passes you the ketchup and you say thanks. And it's not like when I ask Emmett to empty the dishwasher and he says, I'll get to it, thanks.
That's called sarcasm.
That's right.
Yeah, I do not like doing the dishwasher, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
We're talking about thankfulness. We're talking about the power of a sincere thank you, often out of the blue, to make someone feel loved and appreciated. And of course, I have an example. A story pulled from our library of life lessons, filed under thankfulness.
Inside the Vitalia Senior Residences in Strongsville, Ohio, 95-year-old Frank Grassberger sits on a treasure. In fact, Frank says, other than his wife Dolores, almost nothing matters more to him than this note.
I'd never be without it.
Why did it matter so much that you have it with you all the time?
Because it's something that somebody thought of me that much.
When he has that letter with him, he has a feeling of faith and trust and love.
To understand how a letter can do all that, you first need to know that Frank is a World War II veteran. And back in 2009, a third grader wrote to thank him for his service. If it wasn't for you, we would never have freedom. I'm so happy you made sacrifices. Your friend, Deshauna Priest. To Frank, that simple thank you came to symbolize a life well served.
I'm tickled at that I have a letter like this.
He wanted to thank the author.
We never could find her. He says, before I close my eyes, I have to find her. I have to find her.
Just about everyone who works here was well aware of Frank's attachment to that letter and his decade-long desire to find the little girl who wrote it. So the staff did some sleuthing, and lo and behold, meet Deshauna. She vividly remembers writing the letter as a school assignment because she so admired people in uniform.
Just like, wow. Like,
I get to write to a veteran.
Yeah.
So it was like an honor.
Yeah.
An honor that continued
So here she is.
when Deshauna surprised Frank in her National Guard uniform.
Honest to God, oh, I love you so much. You can't imagine the feeling I had when she stood next to me. It just took my breath away, it really did.
I thought, where's his heart pills? Because I thought, oh, this is it. This is the big one.
This is a godsend.
Fortunately, Frank's heart only swelled and may never return to its original size.
So this is the beginning of something.
Yeah. Friendship. Family, not friendship.
There's love there, deep down in the heart. She's like my third daughter. She really is.
It started with a lot of love and affection, and it's ending the same way.
Who knew a simple thank you could make a life complete?
Frank and Dolores Grassberger join us now. Welcome.
Hello to you and welcome.
This Thursday is Thanksgiving. What are you going to be thankful for on Thursday?
What am I going to? I'm thankful every day. It would take hours and hours and hours. That's how much thankfulness I have.
Did you get other thank you letters after that story aired?
You can't believe what people sent me.
Wow.
Whoa, I guess so.
That's a sample. He's got other ones too.
Are you still in touch with Deshauna?
Oh, yes. You know, she comes and visits and has coffee and eats and then goes back home.
That's great. Frank, are you going to be buried with that letter?
Are you going to be? He's going to be cremated.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Frank.
Thank you for thanking me.
Bye-bye.
You know, we write thank you notes in this house, but it's usually because somebody has given us something, right?
Yep.
But what I take from this lesson is that if you write a thank you note to someone out of the blue for who they are and not the gift they've given you, it can make all the difference. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.
Good morning. I'm here with my daughter and co-teacher, Meryl.
For a lesson on stick-to-itiveness.
Emmett, I assume this means to stick to it.
Well, kind of, but the actual definition is deeper. It's the quality of staying committed to a certain task or goal over a long period of time, especially when progress is slow.
And when you feel like quitting. Question, does this Post-it note have stick-to-itiveness?
Doesn't appear to.
It actually does.
Well, it doesn't matter if the Post-it note fails, as long as it keeps coming back and trying, it technically has stick-to-itiveness.
That's right. Stick-to-itiveness doesn't guarantee results, but sometimes miracles happen. And of course, I have a great example. A story pulled from our archive about what's possible when you really stick to it.
Lady!
Night! The Climax Fisher High School Lady Knights had been on a streak, booting and bobbling their way into the record books. This team from western Minnesota somehow strung together 84 straight losses. That's 4 straight years of ridicule.
People always make fun of you.
It's honestly embarrassing.
We lost a game 90-3, but those kids played like it's 5-5.
Jonathan Vanish is their coach.
They're going to be in there.
Jonathan says a few girls have quit, but the ones that remain are more determined than ever to turn this team around.
See if they can make an outside shot.
Which is why it was so heartening to see what happened in this game against Bagley High School, when the Climax Fisher Lady Knights, in white, got off to one of their best starts in recent memory. At halftime, they were actually leading by a point.
And the crowd was getting into it, which made it even better.
Really in the zone.
And then things went really wrong.
Really wrong, yeah.
Unfortunately, in the second half, they got in major foul trouble.
Oh my God.
One by one, their seniors fouled out of the game. All of them. Before it was over, the juniors would be gone too. In fact, for the last 3 minutes, they only had 3 girls left. 2 sophomores and a freshman. The most inexperienced players on the losingest team in the state.
Are you telling them we can win this?
Well, you know,
You didn't want to lie to them.
I don't think I used that term. I said, but you continue working to the end.
And that's really all their coach was expecting, a valiant effort. Can't win 3-on-5. In fact, they didn't score once from the field, but they did play stellar defense. And when they did get the ball, they were able to draw some fouls. And when they did draw those fouls, they made those free throws. Enough of them that when the buzzer sounded, the Lady Knights of Climax Fisher were on a new streak.
We were all hugging and crying and screaming our heads off.
It's probably the best moment of my life.
No matter what people say like about you, if you keep putting in time and effort, it will pay off.
Joining us now, Adriana Rooney. She was a player on the team and is now coach of the Lady Knights.
Welcome to Kindness 101.
Thank you for having me.
How's the team doing?
You're like 8 and 15 or something like that.
8 and 15 is amazing.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Do you show the new players that story?
So actually the girls, like, they watch it probably way too many times, and
Why do you think they like watching it?
you have a clip in there of me blowing my nose. So they like to, tease
That's not the answer I was hoping for, but go on.
me.
So they tease you about it more than anything.
Yeah.
Do you want them to get something from this when they watch the video?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything's not about winning.
How has that whole experience affected your life outside of basketball?
I wouldn't be the person I am if I wouldn't have been on the team that I was on. I mean, you don't give up and you continue to do it even if it's hard.
We've said before in these classes that failure is the key to success.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No one likes losing, but it builds character more than winning ever will, if you maintain your stick-to-itiveness. Do that, and maybe one day, you'll get your miracle. We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay kind.